Perfect.
We're in order. We're coming to order at 6:31. And Rebecca, please go ahead and roll call us.
Okay, Lauren,
Yes, I'm here.
Pat,
I'm here, thank you.
me, Rebecca, I am here. Mike, is Mike here? I do not see him.
Not yet.
All right, Joe,
I'm here.
Brandon,
I am here.
Francisco,
Here.
June,
I'm here.
Mark,
I don't see Mark.
okay, Wesley,
Here.
Mimi,
I'm here.
Dave,
Here.
Richard. I do not see Richard. Paul
Here.
and Starchild. Nope, I don't see him here. Let's see. Okay, there's 11 people here and 3 people absent. No, 2 people. Well, I guess there's 2 people absent and there's 2 vacancies.
And actually, I had a question about that. Has Nick been officially removed?
I'm pretty sure in the bylaws it's automatically removed.
Okay.
Okay,
We-
just checking.
That's what I
can-
think. We can check later.
No, I believe that it does say that. I just was verifying because it was a question mark on the agenda.
Right. I just, I put the question mark there just so that we could all have exactly this conversation and make sure that we were all on the same page about that. Okay, so we've done a little roll call, but I suspect that we might get a couple more people as we go. The first thing on our agenda is adopting the agenda. Has everybody gotten a chance to take a look at the agenda?
When we get it open.
I move to adopt.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda from Amy Robson. Is there a
Second.
second? Second from Paul. Is there an objection to adopting the agenda?
I would like to move to amend
Okay, what is your amendment?
the section that says communications hygiene. I would
Mhm.
like to add to that discussion of the signal chat. I think they're kind of the same issue, that we have to come to agreement on which people should be seeing what kinds of communication. And if you don't
Okay.
like that idea, then I alternatively add a new topic, signal chat for 5 minutes.
All
Laura?
right,
Go ahead, finish.
so we got a motion from Joe to amend the communications hygiene section to include some discussion of the signal chat. Is there
I
a
will
second for that?
second that.
We got a second for that from
I
Mimi.
second.
Is there an objection to adding that?
You didn't incorporate the stuff I sent you in the document, which is that we can skip the endorsement of the repeal top 2 because they haven't got their summary yet.
Oh, I have that in my notes. We'll skip it when we get there. Thank you.
I would also suggest that we remove the Aaron Starr item since he's not here, and since apparently
Told him
he's
he could
already.
come. I told him
Aaron-
he could log on at 7 because so he didn't have to listen to all of our reports and
So
stuff.
I thought, as I said in my comment when I saw this agenda, I thought that it was potentially an interesting thing that he was going to tell us some story. But number one, it sounds like it's an old story, and number two, he apparently has already told the story in some recorded form.
Oh,
So why
He
is it?
told me the
It
story
is
on the
not-
phone.
no.
Okay,
I did
guys,
not
folks.
record-
Why
Okay,
is-
come on. Hold on. Okay. Aaron is planning to come. He's planning to log into the meeting at 7 o'clock so
Okay.
that when we get to that point, he can give us his update on the state of the Oxnard recall.
Okay.
Now, there may be some new news to share. I don't know. I think a lot of us are familiar with the broad strokes of what's going on out there, but this would give us the up to the minute update on the state of things out there in Oxnard, I think is what we're looking at there.
Okay, if I withdraw my objection, as long as it's going to be new information, I don't think these committee meetings are the place for people to tell stories about things that we have no power to take action.
We want to keep up with what's going on around the state.
Yes, but we don't have to do that during the meeting.
Okay, but that's fair. That's fair. So there is no motion to adjust the
Nope.
agenda to accommodate that. Okay. So then we have this motion from Mimi, a second from Paul to adopt the agenda as amended. Any objection to that? Okay. Let's go ahead and roll into the big minute. So give us the single biggest highlight. We're talking about 1 minute, something awesome. I'll start. I had a crazy experience. I have never been a news show talking head before, but I was contacted by a New York political operative of some sort, and he had been contacted by a Russian language YouTube news program looking for a third party California political person to talk about the state of the primary here in California. So, of all things, I got to go and be and you've all seen this on the news, and so here's the situation in California with the primary, and joining us now is Lauren Dean, chairman of the Libertarian Party of California, and we have some questions for him. Lauren, bah! And they hit me with like 4 quick questions, and I answered them and called Javier Becerra a moron, and then we were done. And and it was just on and off, just like that. And they were like, thanks. One of the stranger experiences that I've had going on one of these shows, but fun in its own way. Why not? And Javier Becerra is a moron, so there you go. Anyway, that was me. That was kind of a fun thing happened to me this last month. Pat, what have you been doing for a minute?
Well, how do I follow that up? I mean, I hope you like Siberia. So, all right. So anyway, June Jenneth, there you are. She's kind of the inspiration for my complaints, my whining. But it was kind of discouraging that Gay Pride is coming up and that we don't have anything planned, which is discouraging. And I'm at fault more than anybody. We kind of need to be more proactive. And so also going on the website, and I hate to be the complainer, the website, it seems to be missing a lot of, excuse me, stuff. The social media icons were gone, but now they're back. And they were not gone, they were grayed out. There was no registered libertarians. Joe Dean also kind of depressed me because of the registration reports, and there's no way to register libertarian on the website. That disappeared. A lot of the website stuff is missing. So,
well, we've got some space on the agenda to talk about the website tonight.
well, this is my chance to complain and whine, Lauren.
Okay.
So, you're going to
All right.
Siberia, I get to whine.
Fair enough. You have 30 seconds.
We need to be more proactive, and that includes me too. So I'm blaming us as a collective, excuse me. So I think we have some holes, but considering where we were the last administration, we've made improvements, but we have a long way to go. So that's the end of my whine. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Mike, I think I saw you sneak in.
Yes, I
Nick
did.
Van Roy here. Give us the 1 minute awesomeness.
Okay, well, I went to my first convention. That was quite it was quite an experience. Putting it nicely. Almost had my hotel ceiling crash down on my head. Fortunately, I wasn't in the bathroom at the time. But anyway, I'll tell you a story I forgot to tell you guys last meeting about Alameda. We had a social plan with 10 people, and which is pretty good for us because we're not a large affiliate. And stupid me forgot it was Mother's Day weekend and we couldn't get a table, so we ended up doing it the next week. But yeah, that's my embarrassing story.
Well, all right. Rebecca. Rebecca.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, I caught up with some of my work. The operations manual was updated. The bylaws have not been finished, but I'm working on it. And there's something wrong with the website, like I said in the email. I will obviously I have all the minutes, but I will re-upload or redo the page to restore the minutes. Well, that's it.
All right. Thank you. Joe, give us a minute. What have you been up to?
I voted.
Yay!
I voted for myself. And also
As you should.
And also for somebody who was on the ballot as a libertarian for governor. So I was happy about that. I was not particularly happy about the numbers I got, but I was pleased. Several people came up to me at square dances and said, "Oh, I saw your name on the ballot. I voted for you." So there's a little outreach into a community that we don't, and they said, "Oh, I'm a libertarian. I voted for you," and I have no idea. So that was very satisfying.
I discovered that when I was square dancing, that there are a lot of libertarians who are square dancers. I don't know why, but it
Well,
seems to
I
appear.
remember
That's
when
right.
I first met you at Stanford
Clearly,
Quads, and you were a libertarian. So
square
so
dancers hate the
that's
state.
it's not exactly.
Absolutely.
And Kanita Watson, for that matter,
Right,
was one of the
right,
first square
yeah.
dancers I met.
Oh,
So it's not but I'm just pleased that there are people who I had no idea were libertarian, had never said anything about libertarianism to me, and said, "Oh, I voted to you. I'm a libertarian."
well,
So
there you
that's good.
go.
Very nice.
I visited my parents the other day, and my mom snuck up to me and said, "Lauren, I wrote you in. Is that bad?" I said, "No, that's totally fine." We don't have a central coordinator. Brandon, give us a minute.
Oh
Just a minute.
God.
There's a lot going
Uh,
on. Give us just
well,
1 minute.
well, the 1 minute before the actual conversation is I've been dealing with election fallout. Carl DeMaio had a candidate going against one of our candidates that was in fact a paper candidate. And I called him out on it. And now that the election's over, the kind of fire's coming up. So, yeah, we'll be talking about it later.
All right, fair enough. All right. At largest, Dave.
Hi.
Probably the highlight was I did some work that I mentioned last time of looking at the distribution list, the email list for LPC Master, and compared that to our current and lapsed members. I was pretty frightened by the lack of overlap. So anybody using LPC Master thinking that you're talking to everybody, not the case. So I did a private readout of that for Lauren, and then a meeting of the membership committee where we went over the details.
I have to ask, has anybody updated LBC Master since I put it together?
I think
Not me.
clearly it needs some substantial updating and pruning and honing because we have no idea who's actually on it or where any of that is going. But that's a conversation for not this moment. Um, Francisco.
Yeah, so here in Fresno, at our meeting last month, we were putting together a social. We it's a 5K run, 5K, 2K walk here in
Nice.
Fresno and it's actually going to be on the 4th of July. So there's a big run. I guess it's an annual run. It's called Freedom Run. So if anyone's in town, July 4th here in Fresno, you guys want to join us? We started a little run group for that run. And we also bought a booth at the event, so we'll have our booth there. And I'm hoping to invite Willie Brown out to that event, and I think that'd be some good. Uh, I think it'd be good for him for his camping.
Stephen
Right
Brown or
on.
Willie Brown?
What was that?
Stephen Brown or Willie Brown? Willie Brown was I don't know how you describe Willie Brown. Tyrant in
Willie,
California.
Willie Brown is also the guy who won the Visalia State Senate.
I thought that was Stephen Brown.
too.
Willie Brown Jr.
Yeah, Willie Brown. We can't have
That
California
explains
politics.
his vote total.
It can't be politics without a Willie Brown. What are you going to
Oh
do?
my God.
Never
Yeah,
hurts
there
to
you
have a recognizable name.
go.
Well, if you sell your
All right.
soul.
All right. Well, thank you, Francisco. June, give us a minute.
Well, you all know that there's an effort to repeal top two. I'm not going to go into that. We're delaying it because there's no summary. You may not have heard that Steve Peace, who was the primary person responsible for our having top two, is apparently a little bit worried so he has launched another initiative. I think it's just in the planning stages, which would institute top five. He sought the support of Cal RCV on this, and which turned out to be a good thing because the last time that Cal RCV endorsed top five, which they have done, there was no mention of using RCV in the primary, which bugged the hell out of me. So this time I got them to change the resolution saying, yes, we support the concept of top five as long as RCV is used in both the primary and the general. And so I consider that a victory. So that was probably the most significant thing. I mean, I don't know where that's going to go, but peace is very influential. So there's a very good chance. We may be looking at two competing ballot measures about election procedures come 68.
Okay.
We'll just have to see what happens. So I don't know if there was anything else terribly important to mention.
Hey, the one big highlight is just fantastic. Mark, what do you got going on for a minute? Mark. Is Mark here? Did Mark come in? I thought I saw Mark come in.
He's muted.
There.
He is here.
Okay.
I had to hit the phone 3 times to get it to unmute. All right. So I talked to Michael Cloud. I don't know if everybody knows who Michael Cloud is, but long time activist, speechwriter, fundraiser. He's willing to do some fundraising for us pro bono. So we've got and the first thing I talked to him about is raising some money for the State Fair project, which is July 17th through August 2nd. Mimi has put up a link on the webpage so people can donate to the State Fair project. So thank you for that. We manage outside of the LP, but within the electoral range, we managed to defeat the Palo Alto Unified School District parcel tax. It was a $900 parcel tax for a school district that has a $100 million reserve. And the kicker was the people who signed it were both past presidents of the Palo Alto Unified School District. And it still got 60% of the vote. It needed 2/3. So we got a tough road to hoe there. And then up in Redwood City, the elementary school district over, we managed to defeat that parcel tax up there. And somebody mentioned about a booth at a fair. Remember that if needed, we have an insurance policy that covers liability.
Right. There's a
Mark, is that insurance policy for any county party or libertarian group in the state, or?
Yep, you got it.
Great.
Yeah, you can contact the agent
Any
and
county
she'll
party.
write you a rider thing for your event. So you can show that to the expert. All right.
Do you have some kind of
And it's only for county parties.
number or details for that you can send out?
Mark, if you would just find her name and stick it on the
yeah, I'm trying to blank right now, but let me look her up.
Find it and post it on the XCOM list, and that way we can find it.
It's Jill Pyatt.
Yes.
Jill Pyatt, yeah.
Jill Pyatt.
Oh.
And
actually,
actually,
it's farmers insurance, and it's for any county party. It's not for any libertarian group that's not affiliated with
county affiliates. Sure.
The LPC.
Yeah. All right. Well, and that brings us to Mimi. Mimi, go ahead and give us the big minute.
So I've been doing a lot of things and stuff, kind of like when I make points of something. So yeah, I will say that I helped Mike Van Roy because when he showed me the picture of his ceiling coming down in his bathroom, he's like, they said they didn't have another room for him. And I'm like, well, bullshit, they don't. So I got Pat Ford down there right away and he got a new room. So I felt good about being able to help a fellow libertarian not be in a room where he almost got his head hit with ceilings falling down. So that's like my big minute.
Wow, what a wild story and a great story. You'll laugh about it someday. Not funny right now, but it'll be funny someday.
No, it's funny now.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Paul, give us a minute. Where you at, Paul?
I'm at home.
Oh, okay. What's new and exciting in Paul land for a minute?
Well, unfortunately, the medical issues continue. I'm having to spend as much time as possible in bed, which means I can't sit at my computer, and like I told you before, I can't bring the laptop to the bed. So I haven't done a whole lot with doing the membership calls for lapsed members. We did hold a meeting, like Dave mentioned, on a week ago on the 2nd. We discussed the database issues that Dave brought up, which was the impetus for having the meeting. He wanted to explain the situation in more detail than he figured we had time for in this meeting. And he wanted to discuss strategies for trying to recover our membership numbers. And the only other issue was June has said she wants to resign, but she hasn't specifically said when the effective date is.
Yeah, that was a resignation. The fact that I didn't show up, which I actually just forgot about, but consider that a resignation.
Okay, let me get that cleared in.
There we go. She said it in front of all of us. We were all here.
All right.
I can't back out now.
And that's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Richard, did I let Richard in? Was Richard late? Maybe Richard's not here. Is there a Richard? I don't see Richard. Oh, that's not Richard. That's Richard Brown. Hey, Richard Brown. But Richard Stafford is not here. Okay. Wes, go ahead and give us a minute.
Uh, well, unfortunately, my convention story is not nearly as good as Mike's. Had a great time. Nothing fell on my head. Had made a lot of content, and you guys are gonna see a bunch of it over the next couple of weeks. Lauren, you're muted.
I muted and then started talking. That's smart. No, I watched Wes make some content. Wes was really on it the whole weekend. Yeah, so I'm excited to see that stuff happen. All right, Nick's not here. Star Child, you want to give us a minute? Give us a minute.
Sure. So I was over the past month, the convention going to national was the big thing. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to go because of financial issues, and the LP Alliance came through and helped me out with a room there. So on that basis, I did go, and I appreciate them for doing that. I guess they helped a lot of people. Um, I salvaged a bunch of materials as I usually do from after the convention. People always leave stuff in the halls. This happens at our state conventions too, but it's even, on a bigger scale at national, that all kinds of good, valuable outreach material gets left behind. Including there was a lot of stuff from libertarian candidates in other states, which I didn't take back because in California, it's not really helpful to have materials for candidates in Idaho or wherever. But so that was one little thing of activism I did. Then, of course, I ran for office here as a write-in candidate in San Francisco, and thanks to those who alerted or reminded me about the opportunity for that. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out because two other write-in candidates also ran, and they got more signatures. So I won't be going on to November. The window was really too short, and with the convention and everything, we didn't get the word out. Probably wouldn't have made a difference anyway. One of them got like 227 write-in votes, the Republican, and so I think they had some kind of operation going there to support him and make sure their people wrote in. But of course, there was a chance that they wouldn't make the signature deadline and file and so forth, and so it was a gamble. But unfortunately, in this case, it didn't pan out. Something interesting happened actually while I was at the convention. I got a call from the Secretary of State's office asking me if I wanted my name listed, as they have this new program apparently, and some who ran for office or were involved with people who ran might know about this, but it's kind of interesting. They're giving candidates basically a chance to opt out of having their residential addresses visible as voters. And I said, well, if that's available for candidates, incumbents, or whatever, it should be available for everybody. So I'm going to opt out on principle, show my address along with everybody else. If candidates have the right to opt out, everybody should have the right to opt out, right? So then when I went to vote on election day, which I always wait and vote on election day instead of doing it by mail, even, just longer they have the completed ballots in their possession, the more chance there is for malfeasance. So I went in there and my name wasn't in the voter book, which is weird because it always is. And I was actually listed there. They have this sheet listing the write-in candidates, which I was checked to display. And I did call the elections office locally before also and remind them to tell the precinct people to have the list of write-in candidates out and available for people to see, because I've seen in the past sometimes they don't have it out and people can't see it and they don't know about it. So they did have it out, at least at my polling place, but I wasn't in the book. And so I called the elections department, and eventually it transpired. They said, well, you're a candidate, so you were taken out. And I said, well, I specifically opted out of that program. They called me and they said, well, this is our local thing. This is not the Secretary of State's office. We don't know what they did. But apparently at the local level, they opted everybody out automatically, or opted them into this new program rather, and ignored my opt-out request, or it didn't get processed or whatever. So they made me vote with a provisional ballot because my name wasn't in there. So I wasn't happy about that because I don't trust them to count the provisional ballots either. I've had an experience one time as a auditor for a race that was close, where I went in and watched them doing the provisional ballots. And there were cases where I thought it was dubious and they just like discarded these potentially valid votes. And so anyway, so I'm not happy about that.
Well, I'm glad you were able to vote in some way.
It was an interesting learning experience. Yeah. As
Fair
of the
enough.
latest count I checked, I only got 10 write-in votes, which is not great. I wish that, in retrospect, it probably would have been better not to run just because, running and then only getting 10 makes this look bad. But, it was a gamble.
Well, fair enough.
Anyway.
All righty. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
Where are we here? We have minutes from the last meeting is what's next after our big reports here. And then following this, we have Aaron. I just saw Aaron come into the meeting. So let's go ahead and approve minutes if there is a motion to approve minutes.
There are actually two sets of minutes.
We have two sets of minutes.
Yeah, there's
yes.
two, but I have something on the one set, which is for the May 12th. I actually have two questions. One of the things is it says motion Lauren Dean was second to appoint June Jennis as timekeeper. The motion passed without objection. That is not true. June would not accept that nomination.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
The other thing was that I do believe that after we accepted provisionally the proposals for the Sacramento convention, we appointed Wesley as the chair of the convention committee. I didn't go back to the recording, but I do recall that. So I wanted to bring that up because I think that we did do that.
That does sound familiar. So am I hearing a
So I would
motion
like
to
to either
amend
do
the
one
minutes?
of two things. Either
Okay.
I'd like to either amend it or I'd like to postpone these until somebody like me can go back to the recording to verify if what I'm saying is correct. I'll do either. It depends on. I'm reading the room here.
In the interest
No,
of
because I think
time,
those two things happened.
in the interest of time, and I think that neither of those things is super duper time critical. So in the interest of time, let's go ahead and postpone that till next meeting. And
Can we
make sure that we've got
Can we have comments from other people? Because
Sure.
while she's going to be editing it, we might as well get them all done at the same time.
You're writing this down, Rebecca?
Well, if we're gonna postpone it, it'd be better to just email it to me so I could have it all down.
Okay. All right.
And I do have one question though. If being that we do now have a convention contract approved, and being that we don't have it on record that Wesley is the chair, can we add that to the agenda tonight to then reappoint him? So that
Not if we already did. We don't have to do it again.
But we don't know that for a month, right?
Well, Wes,
postponing.
Just look at the recording right now.
Wes is on the call. Why don't you ask him?
Did we do that, Wes?
He doesn't remember either.
Well, like that was the intention, but like whether or not people voted to make, I don't remember. We'll have to go to the tape for that. But if we want to vote right now, if there's no objections, I will be the chair of the Sacramento Convention.
That's what happened last time. There were
Yeah,
no
I don't see
objections.
there's a problem with redundancy.
That's what I
But we
thought
shouldn't
too.
do it right
but
now.
like,
that sounds about right. Yeah. Let's for the moment, let's go ahead then and postpone minutes till next month while people square these details away.
All right.
And
What
if
happened
people
to
feel,
appointing?
and if people feel very strongly about it, we have an agenda item down here where we're discussing the 2027 convention. And if we want to go ahead and reaffirm Wes, we can do it then.
We given up on a timekeeper? I thought we decided we were going to do that every meeting.
I tried to give it to you, and you were like, "No, I'm not going to do it. You have to do it, Lauren." And so I'm just sitting here with my stopwatch right here.
Okay,
and
so
I'm
you are
just
doing
going, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Well,
All right.
before we move on from this topic, I
Go
have
ahead, Joe.
2 points relating to the minutes that were presented. And I understand Rebecca has asked for comments by email, but I have 2 points that I would like input from people here. I think she should get input from people here before she proposes an alternative. I do have some slight editorial comments on the May 12th minutes. I think the headers are a little bit screwed up, but that I can deal with by email to her. The May 16th minutes, I have 2 different kinds of concerns. One is the previous one, the 12th, had a section called Executive Committee members not in attendance or absent or something like that. And this one does not. And I know they know that there's one person who's not listed there who was not there, and that was Nick Apostolopoulos. And my question really for Rebecca is it thus just that she neglected to include this section, or had she already decided at that point that by virtue of him missing a certain number of meetings, he was no longer a member? Either way is okay. Can be fixed either way. I just want to know what's the intended meaning here.
For the May 16th meeting, Nick had already missed the previous 2 meetings, so he was off the committee.
Okay, so at that point there was a vacancy in the alternate position. That's consistent. I just wanted to make sure that was your intent. There's no reason to have a section of who's absent if there's nobody who's absent.
Okay, well hold on.
Although he's still listed, though so that is an inconsistency because he's still listed on the meeting agenda as an at-large member. So he needs to either be gone from both places or be on both places. Sorry.
And shouldn't there also be somewhere a notation that we've noticed that somebody has dropped off? Shouldn't that be acknowledged somewhere?
I suspect we'll be acknowledging that tonight.
No. Well, but we're looking at minutes of May 16th, and we hadn't. There's nothing in the minutes of May 12th that says, oh, since he missed enough meetings, he's no longer on the list. Nor is there anything at the beginning of the May 16th minutes saying, oh, since he's no longer on the list. So
sounds like a minutes update to me.
So can we just have, I don't know, at least, I don't know, somewhere there should be something that notes the transition.
Well,
I'll leave that to Rebecca to figure out how to do it, but make it consistent. But my other question is, the first thing after the attendance list is a heading that says waive notice for meeting, and says motion. Lauren Dean moved with second to waive notice for the meeting. The motion passed without objection. I don't think that's what happens at all. I don't think
Okay.
waiver of notice is a motion.
Okay.
I think a waiver of notice is an act by each individual member, any one of which could have said they don't waive notice. And I don't think you have to list them all here, but I just think the form is wrong. I think it should say something like all members being present and all members being present, all waive notice of this meeting for this meeting or something like that. Those are the essential points. It's a thing that they all did together, but they didn't do it as a vote. They did it by virtue of their individual rights.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so can you just rephrase it to be something like that? It should say that it was the individuals who are waiving their right, the notice, and it should explicitly mention that everybody was present, since that's one of the requirements. Okay, those were my comments on the minutes.
Lauren, you're muted.
I'm muted. Go ahead, Star Child.
Thank you. Yeah, on the timekeeping, I believe I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. It came to my attention that there's a way in Zoom for moderators to display a timer in the corner of their screen that you can start, like when somebody's speaking. I've encouraged groups to use this so you can see how long somebody's been speaking. I think it's very useful. That way somebody doesn't have to have a stopwatch or whatever. Everyone can just see it on the screen.
I've seen it used in Google Meets, but I haven't seen it used in Zoom, and I don't know how to do it. If you know how to do it,
I've seen it in Zoom. I haven't been a Zoom organizer. I'm not sure how to do it myself, but it's there. So I would suggest whoever's organizing.
Well, I suppose I should chase it down somehow. I'll see what I can dig up. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else want to talk about the minutes before we hand them back to Rebecca and postpone this thing until next time? All right. Well, we'll look forward to those minutes then at the next meeting. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, well, that brings us to Aaron Starr and the state of the Oxnard recall. So I believe I saw Aaron come in. Aaron, are you here?
He is.
I am
All
here.
right. I have you here for 15 minutes plus 5 minutes of questions.
Okay.
So go ahead, take it away.
Well, let's get started. So there's a recall effort underway in Oxnard. The recall proponents need to gather 3,456 valid signatures. They have to do so by the end of August to get it on the ballot at some point. If they want to get it onto the November ballot, they would have to turn in the signatures quite a bit sooner, probably early to mid-July, because it takes time for the county registrar of voters to validate the signatures are correct. If they succeed in getting it on the ballot, the only question on the ballot will be whether I should be removed or not. There will not be an election for my replacement. That would happen. It would just basically create a vacancy, and the city council can either fill it by appointment, which they probably would do, or they can have a special election. So kind of give you an idea of what the proponents are arguing. I'm going to actually read to you what the grounds for the recall are as from the perspective of the recall proponents. What they wrote.
Do they just need a majority?
I'm sorry, what?
To recall you, do they just need a majority?
Correct.
Let's hang on. Let's hang on to questions. We got time. We got time for questions at the end.
So here's what they submitted. They wrote, and I want you to notice the lack of detail here. We, the undersigned registered voters of Oxnard City Council District 3, seek the recall of Councilmember Aaron Starr due to a persistent failure to uphold the public trust and prioritize the needs of our community. During his tenure, Starr has consistently voted against the interests of his constituency, including but not limited to disadvantaged communities, renters, represented city employees, immigrants, and community-based organizations. He has also leveraged his platform and position of power to elevate misinformation that has led to confusion and distrust among Oxnard residents. Despite robust and clear public input, he has failed to provide representation that is truly reflective of the needs of District 3 or the city as a whole, choosing instead to vote based on his own agenda and or ideology. Our community is deserving of a representative who is present, accountable, and dedicated to the full well-being of all Oxnard residents. District 3 deserves a representative who is fully in touch with the actual needs of District 3 residents. By initiating this recall, we exercise our right to ensure our elected officials remain answerable to the people they serve. We respectfully demand an election to restore integrity and effective representation to our district. That is their entire rationale grounds for my recall. I guess they could have had a recall say that we don't like his mustache, or that he doesn't have as much hair as he used to. You can't throw it out just because of the reasons. But what they allowed me to do, though, is they allowed me to come up with an answer to their grounds, and that goes onto the same recall petition form. And my answer reads as follows. Recall ringleader Manuel Herrera threatened Aaron Starr with recall before Aaron Starr became a council member. This isn't about wrongdoing. It's about revenge from political insiders because Aaron Starr is not a rubber stamp. Notice that recall proponents make sweeping statements, but can't cite misconduct. That's not a legitimate basis for a recall. Aaron Starr is independent of the political machine, a longtime fighter of corruption, the only council member who refuses compensation. Aaron stands alone in supporting a strong homeless anti-camping ordinance and voting against spending we can't afford. In contrast, proponents oppose reform at Oxnard City Hall. Only Aaron Starr asks tough questions, such as, why does Oxnard City Manager Alexander Nguyen sit on an advisory council of Mercy House while helping it receive $69 million in public funds? Why does Oxnard City Hall ignore or even attack whistleblowers? Why does Oxnard City Hall not fix its broken building permit system? Why does Oxnard City Hall enact policies that hurt renters while pretending to help them? Why does Oxnard City Hall undermine efforts to recover money wrongly paid to vendors? Why does Oxnard City Hall refuse to refund illegal fees it added to your utility bills? Why does Oxnard City Hall charge a much higher sales tax rate than nearby cities? Do you want answers? Aaron Starr does. Aaron Starr won his election with overwhelming support. Oppose this phony recall. Keep Aaron Starr in office. So that's yay. So that's my response. Now, let me tell you the real reason why they're
But
trying
that's
to
the
do it.
good stuff.
So the real reason is because I recruited 3 candidates that are going to run in November for 3 seats. That we have a 7-member council, so 6 council members and an at-large elected mayor. My opponents can count to 4 apparently. They understand that if I win these seats, then there's going to be a lot of big changes and a lot of heads will roll. So they're scared, and they've decided to initiate this recall because not only have I recruited 3 candidates, I've actually raised money for them, and so far I've managed to raise quite a bit of money for each of them. That won't be public knowledge yet until the campaign finance reports come out at the end of July. So where things stand right now is we are fighting this. I've sent out a mail piece that went out to the entire district, kind of like talking about my being an independent voice, and you can't read that really well, I guess. But that went citywide. What we're also doing is we're doing a counter petition for the recall. So basically, I'll tell you how it works. Matter of fact, let me just grab it. So basically, we got a petition that we're having people sign.
Hold it further away. It'll be easier to see it.
All right.
Because it's out of focus. Yeah, like that. That's better.
All right. So basically, what it says is, we, the undersigned, registered and qualified electors of Council District 3 of the City of Oxnard, California, publicly proclaim that we oppose the recall and removal of Aaron Starr, holding the office of District 3 Council Member in Oxnard, California. Furthermore, we request that signatures purportedly made by us be withdrawn from any recall petitions seeking the recall and removal of Aaron Starr. So we have the ability to remove signatures. And that's what I'm doing right now, is gathering those signatures to do that. The reason, so the interesting thing about this is that the recall proponents have to submit all their signatures at once. They can't do multiple submissions for a ballot measure. In my case, my counter recall petition, I can submit signatures at any time along the way in multiple tranches. It doesn't have the same rigid standards that a petition form has for an initiative or a recall or referendum. It's very open-ended, a lot of flexibility. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this opportunity to not only ask for people's name and signature and address, but I'm also taking the opportunity to ask them for their mobile phone number and their email address so that I can keep in contact with them. So this is and I'm able to use this petition form for that purpose, in addition to withdrawing signatures. The other side, the recall proponents, can only use their petition for the purpose of qualifying it for the ballot, and that is it. So I've got people that I am paying to go door to door to gather signatures. I've given them voter lists, canvassing software, so that when they come to each house, they know how much, rather whether the person is a registered voter, and they'll know actually whether he's already signed or not the counter petition. So we've got something that's pretty sophisticated. I think the other side, I mean, I'll tell you, to get 3,456 valid signatures for the recall is a high hurdle, because it is 20% of the registered voters of my district. And it's really hard to get 1 out of 5 people in general to sign a petition. And what probably makes it even harder is that, let's face it, a lot of people a lot of registered voters today really don't live there anymore. The rolls are not as clean as they could otherwise be. So it might be instead of 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 5.5, or 1 out of 4.5, or something like that, depending on how much fluff there is in the voter rolls. What's interesting is there is an interesting aspect to this where this might be a blessing in disguise. So for my candidates, I've been raising money. I'm limited to $595 per donor per candidate. And it's taken me several months to raise in excess of $40,000 for each of them. So they're going to be well funded. What's interesting is that a recall campaign, whether for or against, is treated like a ballot measure, which means there are no contribution limits for a anti-recall effort. So if we have somebody out there that has a lot of money to donate to keep the highest elected libertarian in California in office, they can do that. Now, here's what's interesting. Let's say that we're spending money and we successfully keep the recall from even qualifying for the ballot. What happens to the rest of the money? Well, this is interesting. I can actually contribute that money to another committee that can indirectly help out our 3 candidates. So I can, in effect, get above the $595 contribution limit for them. The way it would work is I can't give it directly to their committee. What I have to do is I'd have to give it to like a different ballot measure committee. But as it turns out, the city of Oxnard next Tuesday will be placing on the ballot in November a sales tax increase. And of course, my 3 candidates will be very much opposed to this sales tax increase. So if we happen to do mailers with their faces and their names and likeness on these mail pieces saying vote against the sales tax increase, if it happens to help out them out get elected, oh well, so be it. So that's kind of an interesting situation. I think I'm ready for questions.
I think that anyone who tries to out-procedure Aaron Starr is in for a terrible, terrible time,
That is
broadly
true.
speaking. We have some questions here. Star Child, you had your hand up, and then Mimi. Star Child, please.
Yeah. Great work, Aaron. It sounds like you're really organized and on top of this, and it sounds like you're going to beat it, which is awesome. I was wondering about one thing you said, and you said it quickly, so I didn't quite catch it. But you said something about a homeless camping ordinance. I'm really hoping that you are not trying to persecute homeless people for camping. I hope that was not what you were saying or
I understand your point of view. We might have a disagreement here. I don't think that homeless people should be camping on the streets, blocking traffic. Public property has an intended use. If you want to camp on private property with permission of the owners, go ahead.
Well, most of the time when they're in public, they're not actually blocking anything, and
Okay.
public space is really for everybody. I mean,
I get it. I get it. I get it. And so it's all right. You and I will disagree, and that's okay. But are there other questions?
Are you trying to actually criminalize them for that though, or what's the actual policy impact here? I
Well,
mean,
right now, what we have today is we have the homeless industrial complex where the city manager is in bed with this not-for-profit
yeah.
and using all this taxpayer money to do that.
Well, that's certainly a legitimate target, and I agree with.
So I'm just simply saying I'm not going to get into a philosophical argument with you, Star Child, here. That's not what I'm here today. You can run for office in San Francisco and have a different point of view when you're elected to that office. But I know that
it is a libertarian issue. I think we should.
I get it.
I hear what you're saying, Star Child. We're talking specifically about this recall effort here. We're not here to pick apart Aaron's platform. Did you have a question specific to the recall, Star Child? Or was that what you had?
No, that was pretty much. Well, my other question, I think I asked you the convention, Aaron, but I don't know if it's changed since then. Are you able to take Bitcoin?
No.
Are any plans to?
God, no.
Why not?
Because I'm not going to put that much effort for a single contributor to give me Bitcoin. It's just not worth it. If you can't give by check or by credit card, I'm not
Okay.
going to do somersaults just so that I can accept maybe one more contribution. I have to focus. I have to focus on beating this recall. I have to
Okay.
focus on gathering the signatures to make sure I can port them.
Well, I mean, it's up to you.
All right.
You know, if it's too difficult, I understand, but
Sure.
it wouldn't be just me, probably. I mean, it's a
Well,
good thing for libertarians in general, I think, to encourage use of
Okay.
cool.
The credit card the credit card merchant platform I have does not accept Bitcoin. And I'm not going to switch to a different credit card merchant account at this stage of the game just because somebody wants to give by Bitcoin.
Fair enough. All righty. Mimi, you have your hand up.
Well, so I just wanted to know, so one of the things that you were saying is that you're trying to raise money in this recall, you know, your anti-recall thing, and you don't have contribution limits. I believe that as a state party, we can put stuff out, you know, for like, you know, about this on our socials, on our
Sure.
emails and things like that to get people to try to donate to that. And then by extension, you know, for helping your other candidates, this is a serious question. Is there contribution limits for state parties to, or actually we wouldn't be able to because they're not necessarily registered libertarian, right?
So they're not. I've got two of them are declined to state. One is a Republican. I tried to recruit libertarians to run. I couldn't find anybody willing to do it.
Well, that's not surprising. Okay, so that part doesn't matter, but we can actually, and by the way, I also put this out to the LNC today, to do an email campaign to try to get money for your
Great.
Stop the Recall election. But I think that we, as a state party, should probably do that as well to try to help you raise as much money as you can to do this. So
Is the
it was
optics
more
of
a
it?
statement than a. I'm sorry?
Sorry, let me just ask real quick. Is the optics of a national campaign something that is acceptable to you, Aaron? Is that something that makes you vulnerable to there's all this out-of-state money coming in for Aaron Starr?
I'm not worried about out-of-state money. I'm trying to keep my office as non-political as possible, or nonpartisan as possible, rather. But of course, it's interesting. On social media, I am regularly attacked because I'm a libertarian. And that is part of the reason why they say they want to recall me is because I'm a libertarian. The local Democrat
And that was
Party,
part of my.
yeah.
No, that was part of my question is for me suggesting these things. Is that something that's going to be helpful or hurtful? Because I don't want to do something that's hurtful.
I think money is always helpful, even if it's from out-of-state donors. I mean, they already criticize me for accepting money from out-of-state donors, so that horse is out of the barn already. I had an entire court exhibit showing a map of the United States that the Ninth Circuit was looking at, showing my donors from various parts of the country, and they're like little red, dots on a map. And the three-judge panel actually declared the contribution limits in Oxnard to be illegal because they were specifically written to target me. And unfortunately, the Ninth Circuit en banc panel, which I'm shocked they actually took the case, they only do about 12 en banc panels a year. They took it and they overturned the three-judge panel. So once again, these contribution limits are in effect. We will be appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court, and hopefully they'll take the case because there's always been a lot of talk among them about, overturning Buckley and making all contribution limits unconstitutional infringements on speech.
Man, if there's anybody to fight that fight, I'm glad it's you, Aaron.
Oh, I have no problem fighting. I have no problem with, one of the nice things about being a libertarian is that over the years, we beat up on each other more than anybody else. And I've gotten really hardened over the years. So today I just think about the folks that are in opposition to me at City Hall. And I just think, great, I just validated that I'm right over the target. I'm doing the right thing. So, the important thing in life to get things accomplished is you have to have the right people hating you. and I've got all the right people hating me right now.
Well, fair enough. All right. June, I think we have time for one more question.
Well, it's really not a question. I just want to insert a note of caution. If you were paying attention, a lot of Aaron's strategy has timing aspects to it. So I'd be careful who you tell what about this whole thing. It's one thing to ask for money. It's another to explain the competing petitions and the impact it would have. We don't want to give the enemy ammunition. So
Exactly. So it all comes down to how you ask for the contribution. If you simply make it focused on, hey, our highest elected libertarian in California is being attacked by the local Democrats, and they want to take him out because he's a libertarian, and that's actually true.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to time on this agenda item. So thank you very much, Aaron. I by all means give him hell out there. If there's anybody who's gonna run this sort of procedural gauntlet, it's gonna be you. And I think that we all have absolute faith in your ability to do that. So, 100%. So thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move ahead. We have next here, we have a public comment period. Are there folks who are not on the committee who would like to say something in this public comment period? Recognizing, per the Star Child corollary, that at some point over the course of the agenda, we might end up with someone who's here that can speak to a specific agenda item. Is there anybody who has any specific? Kara, you have your hand up. Kara, we have Kara Smith with her hand up, and then Richard Brown. Kara, go ahead. Hello, Kara. There she is.
Sorry, I couldn't find the button. Sorry, I know this is what we just closed out, but I was wondering, Aaron, if I could get you on a worthwhile California podcast, if you'd be interested. That's a libertarian that runs it.
I'm sure he's still there.
I'm here. If you want me to answer, I'm not really sure that a podcast is going to result in contributions. So if you got somebody in particular you want me to talk to solicit for money, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
But the time spent doing podcasts, I need to spend that time gathering signatures.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you, Kara. Richard Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I wanted to make a comment about something that came up a few minutes ago, the question of whether one of the members had been removed due to missing too many meetings. And that is something that should be noted in the minutes. And I think actually it probably should be brought up when the member, whoever it may be, misses the second meeting or whichever meeting. Either you as chair or some member should raise a point of order that according to our records, member so-and-so has missed, more than 2 meetings this year, and our bylaws provide that you're automatically removed from the committee. Therefore, I raise a point of order that this member is no longer a member of the committee, or you as chair can make a ruling that it is the ruling of the chair that this member is no longer a member of the committee, and then that goes in the minutes.
Okay. All right, well, fair enough. Thank you very much. Any further comment from any spectator that is in the meeting here? I don't know if there's anybody else. Okay. All right, we'll move along then. Let's go ahead and get into the treasurer's report.
Okay.
Did everybody get a chance to see the report? Mike, go ahead.
I sent it out about maybe a couple hours ago. I don't really have anything much to add to it, but are there any questions?
I want to just say, Mike, I appreciate your narrative bit at the front. The just sort of like plain text explainer is really, really nice. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Does Mimi have her hand up? Mimi. Are you on mute, Mimi?
Yeah, I am.
No. Okay.
So, yeah, and I thought that was a good report. I just wanted to just make sure that people saw my little follow-up because he mentioned training and about FPPC, FEC stuff. We are completely, everything has been filed timely and we've got plenty of time for that training. So nobody need worry that we haven't had the training on the net files.
Okay.
Thanks, Mimi.
Any other questions or comments for Mike?
I don't see where money was spent is listed.
Spent.
Where is the outgoing? I see the incoming, and I just looked at it right now, so I've had like 30 seconds to look at it.
Okay, let's see. Let me pull it up.
What were the expenses?
You added the budget versus actuals, right?
Yeah.
That tells everything that's been spent and received.
Well, I mean, I didn't see it before I logged into this meeting, and
Okay,
so
okay. It's on the second page of that.
Well, yeah, but it's all
there's
there.
three documents that you sent out, and so it's kind of hard to see it while we're in a meeting. But it would be kind of nice, and I think our members should see where their money is going to.
It's in the attachment.
But there's 3 attachments, and I don't see it. So, and it just came in. So let's see.
It keeps looking for an income statement. You have a
No, I'm
balance
looking at the
sheet
expense statement.
and you have
Yeah,
budget versus actual, but you don't have an income statement.
Like some kind of just like ledger, like just a straight checkbook ledger for like, what did we do this last month? Is that what you're looking for, Pat?
Well, when I do the Ferrets Club, every penny of what came in and what goes out is accounted for. And I know that this is a more official and more formal organization, but I don't see where the money went.
It's sort of in the budget versus actual, but only if you compare it to the previous one of those.
Okay.
But you see, I'm not very sophisticated.
I think it's called an income statement. It shows it shows money coming in during the period, money going out during the period, and then a net.
Treasurer's report, LPCA Treasurer, May 2026, May 2026 budget. Which state document am I looking at?
I'm not saying it's there. I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. It should be there.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it
I believe
inspires
it's part of
confidence.
the financial statement.
So
I
would
think it's
you
part
like
of
a
the
month by month
2026
breakdown
statement.
in addition to this, or?
Financial positions.
I do it
It's
monthly,
in the
which
financial positions.
I don't see it, and I'm not that sophisticated, so please bear with me. But I think if I'm not that sophisticated, a lot of our members aren't, and they want to see where the money came in and where it went to.
So it sounds like what you're looking for is like a checkbook snapshot.
Well, I don't know. Who uses a checkbook, Lauren?
Well,
You
but
must
I mean,
be
just
old.
the
Virtual
ledger,
checkbook.
the
It's-
ledger
yeah.
of this. Here's the thing, and here's what we spent on it.
Well, when I
Here's the
produce a
thing, and here's what we
financial
spent on it.
report, money in and money out and balance. That's what I put in every month, and I don't see it. And I'm sorry because I'm not sophisticated. I'm not a treasurer. I'm kind of like miserable. Except though my personal budget, my company budget is balanced to the penny from like 2011.
Okay, if you're looking for like a month by month breakout, is that what you mean? I can
Just the
I can
current
provide that.
month, the last 30 days.
Okay. I can do that next time.
Okay.
I
Can you make
think
it
what
public?
he wants is an itemized expense report. He wants
you.
to know
But
a list of where all the money's going.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't see like the webmaster. I don't see that expense on there. I don't see any expenses on there.
Well,
What's the
that's because
phone?
it's
What's
not
the
there.
internet?
okay, that's because it's not there, Pat. It's
Okay,
not
thank you.
the LPC general fund that pays for the webmaster. That's the CSC. That's a different committee. So it's
All right,
not
well,
on
that's
that
where I'm
budget.
not
I guess
sophisticated.
it would help allay that confusion to have an itemized report each
Okay.
month.
I
just
will
so that
I
people
will
can see
send you
what's
how
going
I
on.
do
Yeah.
it. And I'm sorry, I
Well,
don't mean to be
no,
critical,
I'm
but
just going to
I
say
am a
that
pain in
I
the
will
ass.
from this point forward, I will do a monthly CSC report for the treasurer as
Yeah.
well.
That feels like it's just good for people's to knowledge and transparency.
Thank you
We
Yeah.
talk a lot about
Yeah.
transparency in here.
I
It'll be
am
a good thing.
happy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other? Oh, we have hands up on the treasurer's report. Star Child, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think Richard Brown was first.
Richard, did you still have a comment, or is your hand up from before?
I think it's legacy.
I think it's just. Oh, it's down. Okay, Star Child.
Okay.
Yes, I actually, excuse me, I strongly agree with what I think Pat is saying, and I think it may be similar to what I suggested to the treasurer during his report at the national convention, that we should have, I believe, as a layperson, again, to understand people to be able to readily understand our budgets. I want to see just a very simple list of like each single item, whether it's income or expense, saying how much was taken in or how much was spent, you know, who it came from or who it went to, the date, and a brief description of the purpose. And I think that to me is like the gold standard for treasury reports, just to have that whole itemized list where people can look at that. And I see Mimi shaking her head. I don't know.
Okay,
I
you're
really don't
talking.
understand why anyone would object to this. It just seems like such an obvious, you know, clear, transparent, like anybody can understand at the granular level where the money is going and where it's coming from. So that's what I'd like to see.
Okay, fair enough. We're bumping up against time here on this item. Does anyone else have commentary on the treasurer's report? Okay, let's go ahead and move into committee reports. So we've got some time set aside for this. Let's start with Web and IT. The web report went out onto the email. It was nice and concise and clear. And I'll go ahead and hand some time to Mimi then to go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, so yeah, I sent it out today. I'd been working on it for a while and I kept wanting to wait until I had some additional updates. So that's why it went out so late. So I apologize for that. Did you all get a chance to look at that report?
Yes.
Okay, because I did send it out several hours ago while at work when I shouldn't have been doing it. So I asked that question to see how much detail I have to go into with this. I think that some of the biggest questions that have come up are, you know, first of all, the website enhancements. Those have been being worked on by, so let me just start by saying we have not had a meeting. We have this thing, which not only the members of the website IT committee can use, but anybody can use, which is an ongoing document that I've brought up before, that you can put in any issues that you have with the website, any wish lists, any things that you want addressed by the webmaster. And people aren't doing that. I brought that up at the last XCOM meeting. Still nobody is doing that. So you know, to have somebody come up with a whole laundry list of things today with questions to this committee, when, you know, there's that other committee that's actually doing it, I found that, you know, a little bit interesting because it could be done real time as Maria is working on this stuff. So not to, you know, be bitchy or complaining. In other words, not to be Pat, because he's the one that whines, but I'm whining a little bit here because you can do it that way.
Cheers, Mimi.
You can.
When you say real time,
Cheers.
Mimi, what do you mean by that?
It's a real time document. It's live. You can go in there anytime and you can put your wish list for the website. You can put questions for it, and you know, and Maria is very responsive, and Maria has been working very hard to do our website, as has Wes, by the way. Wes has been doing a lot of work as well in the background.
Lauren,
and
your
I've been
test
doing
has been
some
received.
of the work.
Okay. I was kind of curious if it was just going to pop up, or is it going through like a moderator thing? Sorry, that's the whole side conversation. Sorry, go ahead, Mimi. I interrupted. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. But I'm just saying, yeah, no. I've everybody on this committee everybody on this committee and the website IT committee knows that we have that document. We talked about it a month ago.
You know,
People still
I'm
aren't
sorry,
using
it is kind of hidden.
I appreciate
and
that
it's
you
just my
included
fault.
No, it's
I
really
need to
not.
make
It's
well,
really not.
for me it is, Mimi. I'm special.
I appreciate that you included the link in
Yes.
your report, Mimi.
But I didn't have it previous.
Yeah, I did
And
it this
stuff is
time to make
missing.
it very, very. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm just gonna go on. So the enhancements that we've made. So since the last time, the bot those bot things have been kind of figured out with Maria, and then we had a meeting of the CSC, which again, it's the CSC that pays for the website stuff, not the XCOM. So meaning not the LPC restricted fund, it's the unrestricted fund, and we approved a couple plugins, which has been able to give us some of the things that were some of you guys' wish lists, which is that anybody can put in calendar events. It can be put in by counties, candidates, or actually anybody really. I mean, if it's something really weird, we have the capability of removing it, but we also have now put in a new system where it allows members to submit articles and other content for publication on the website, which is something, again, that Star Child and Pat were specifically asking for. It will need approval before being published because, you know, people can send really crazy things sometimes, and we don't want that automatically published because that could get us in trouble. We're still working on trying to refine these issues, and, you know, it's kind of a work in progress. But, you know, again, on my report, there's a link to the document where you can add your stuff. As far as privacy and data requests, Wes has been working on that a lot. You can read that in the report. I don't think there's anything more that I need to say about that. Wes, me, and Lauren have talked about, you know, some of the protocols of all of the people that had access to Neon, and it was too many people. It was, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen, I guess. So that's been refined, and we're adding new user groups so that it'll make it so that there are people like on the XCOM that can go in and they can, you know, access certain reports or certain membership for doing emails. And I've actually talked to Wes about this as well, and we're looking at trying to figure out a way to give permissions to counties so that they'd be able to do their newsletters through Neon as well. As far as the evaluation, Neon versus Nation Builder, that has been really super slow. I've been in contact with Chris Miletti, and, you know, at first it was because, you know, the convention was coming up and then some other things. But as of today, Tim got in touch and said that he was working on mapping and he was going to be finally uploading the membership data for our testing. Last I looked, it wasn't there. I haven't looked since this meeting started. But if we can actually get to that testing, we can finally figure out if this is something that would be good for the party or not. I did check today, and the Neon, if we pay annually, it doesn't give us any kind of discount for paying month to month. So a possibility is that we can switch to month while we do this testing, or not. I'm putting that to this committee, but that is everything in a nutshell that was in my report. So if there's any questions, I think that I can answer questions as well as Leslie and possibly even Lauren on some of these things. So anyway.
Okay, so comments, questions, Star Child, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mimi. I'm really glad to see that the calendar thing, and I'm not sure what besides the calendar, but you said just for events, will people also be able to post blog posts or comments on blog posts or other things? Okay. On the login, how can people check their login, see if they have you know, an active login to the site? I don't know how to log into the state website. Maybe you can get with me directly and give me my current login, so make sure that's working. You also said something about approval, that people post crazy stuff. I hope specifically for the calendar, most importantly, but I would say also for just, you know, stuff in general. I don't like the idea of having pre-approval required. I think instead it should be, if stuff gets posted, then take it down if it's crazy, if there's a problem. If somebody, you know, posts something blatantly spammy or you know, just horrible, then you know, take away their privileges. If it's just a marginal case, then warn them or something. But don't require pre-approval, because that delays, and a lot of times the delays hurt us, especially for calendar stuff. It's like, if people want to get stuff up on the calendar, we don't want to have a turnaround time issue for that. And it also creates more work for the people, of course, that have to approve that and then make sure it gets up. It should be automatic. Like, any member should be able to just post something and have it immediately show up on the website. I think we owe our members that much trust. And the final thing I was going to say is,
can I answer before you finish?
Can
I answer the things that you just said?
yeah,
Sure.
but then I have another point. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Mimi.
there is no delay on events. We don't have a delay there. If you post an event, it will be put on the calendar. If
Good.
it's some kind of weird event after the fact that people say, "Oh my God, why are you doing that?" We could possibly take it back down. What
So
I'm talking
you
about
put it in and then
specifically
refresh
is,
the page and it shows up immediately. It's right there.
That
yes,
is the
okay.
intention.
Great.
We're just finalizing the way that it's working, but that is the intention. There's no delay on that. What I said was on actual posts, articles, content, blogs, things like that. There is an approval process for, which we've already kind of got in place. And what I say by, I don't want like what people have done on, and Lauren and Leslie, you know, help me out here. We already decided that like people like porn bomb, you know,
Yeah.
meetings. They send really icky stuff. Like on the JC meetings, there was really icky porn bomby stuff going on. I don't think it's a good idea to have that on our site, because what if somebody does that at 2 o'clock in the morning and we're all asleep, and then people are fucking losing their shit because this is on our site. So
Couldn't
no,
you-
there is a slight delay on
Right.
that.
Or crazy Nazi stuff, or Westboro Baptist Church nonsense, or any number of things. There's all kinds of terrible things that
There are
somebody
different
can do there.
levels of users, and you could give Star Child a limited use,
No,
but he
but
can.
please understand. No, understand. This is, you don't have to be a user at all to do this. This is anybody. This is you. This is Star Child. This is Joe Blow in, you know, Temecula who wants to do something about ranked choice voting. I don't know.
I
I'm just
think what
making
Pat
shit
may
up,
be
but
getting at, and I would echo, is have gradated levels of access. So like a member would have more access than
no,
just
this is for everybody though.
like
No, you should be able to allow users a certain level of admin privileges. So not just anybody. You just don't want anybody publishing, because what you're saying is very correct. Some we could publish some really bizarre shit, and this is a Liberian website, and we get really bizarre shit. But if Star Child is a
Okay,
registered
you're talking
user, you
about
can
something
give.
that I'm not talking about.
But well,
okay, but
and
you're talking about something that I'm not talking about.
No.
Because I'm
Give
letting you
him
know that we
some
have this other
privileges,
thing.
not complete privileges, but give him a limited amount of privileges to post.
I can chime in on this real quick.
Thank you.
You're right. It is possible. It requires a plugin that's about $1,000 a year.
No, it doesn't.
WP Communities plugin. We have already have the pro version of WP Forms, which is what we are using to extend the right to have a rich text editor attached to the blog post input. That's
You
as
just
far
add a
as we
user.
go without paying for the advanced community plugins. It's very expensive. If you would like to donate that to the party, I will set your community
You add a
levels up
user and you set
within 4 days.
the admin level within 4 seconds.
I have a suggestion. The stuff we're talking about now with user privileges on WP Engine is a Whitcom thing that we can talk about in the Whitcom
Okay, let's
committee.
have a meeting.
My report is not talking about what you're talking about. My
Okay.
report is talking about a new thing that anybody can do a thing.
But we
I'm
don't
not
want
talking about
just
Star Child in
anybody.
particular.
well, we do, but we want
Pat,
two different. We want two things that are similar.
Yes,
But
we want
I
two
think
things. I'm
I
talking about
think
one thing, not
I
the
think
other
we
thing.
should have again
Okay.
gradated levels of access. Like I'm not just talking about you know, access for me personally, although I appreciate your vote of confidence, Pat. I mean any member. I think members should have a level of access to the site to be able to post stuff without pre-approval that we don't necessarily want to give to the general public.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Star Child. But this is something that the Whitcom needs to really get into in their own meetings.
Okay.
Do we have further comment on this report itself?
Yes, I did have my one further point.
All right,
that
quickly, because people have their hands up behind you.
Where are we at for time?
So
we are at 13 minutes on this item so far.
So maybe the last thing I want to say is, as a committee member, I still think, you know, that I, again, appreciate all your work on this, but reports should be coming from the entire committee, not just the chair. I want to see like a draft report before it goes out and have input into making that as a member of the Whitcom committee. I don't want to just see like, you know, several hours before the meeting, the report goes out and that's the first, you know, inkling that I have of it or what's in it or anything. So we need a better process on that.
I can answer that.
Oh,
I can answer that. If we had a
quickly.
meeting, which I've offered many times to have a meeting, if you add input into any of our live documents, that would be great. Right now, it's very clear in my report, and I did this very purposefully. I talked about the fact that this was a report from me that only included the things that the people that have actually been continuously working. That's the only thing I included. So you weren't involved in that. You didn't ask to be involved in that. You weren't involved in that. So this was a report.
I have asked to be involved in it. Yes.
You haven't. Okay. Anyway,
I'm asking now.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
very
Well,
clear that this was from me.
It sounds like
very
accesses
clear.
exist. It sounds like accesses exist, and it sounds like you guys need to have a meeting. Joe, you have your hand up, and then Brandon.
Yes, I have comments on two things. One is the thing that Mimi and Starchild have been arguing about for the last 10 minutes. And that is, as Mimi rightly points out, this was just reporting what she knows about. It's not the opinion of the committee. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, to see that these functionalities have been added. This is the first I saw reading this report. An hour ago is the first that I knew of these, even though I'm on the committee. And we know why that is, because Mimi was writing what she knew about, and we haven't been discussing it. I think the solution to resolving what Starchild's concern is for the committee to discuss it somehow, either in a formal meeting or at least by email or something. Mimi's report just says these capabilities exist, and in particular, the posting of comments, articles will be subject to review. It says nothing about who reviews it. And I think that Starchild's concerned that, it might take too long for it to be approved. There are many ways to deal with that. For example, if you have enough moderators who have the ability to approve them, who are up at all different times of the day, the delay can be minimized. And I think these are details that should be worked out within the WITCOM, and we can do that. And Starchild's a member of WITCOM, and he can be part of that. I have a different comment on the nation builder thing. I would second Mimi's concern that it's been going kind of slowly, this getting things ready. It was good that we heard from TJ today, and I sent a reply to some of his stuff myself, and hopefully things will speed up. On the question of the renewing neon, you said that there is no price advantage to renewing for a whole year versus a month. Is that what you're saying? Mimi?
That appears to be the case, yes.
Okay. So given that,
yes.
And you said you wanted to get input from the committee, and by which I assume you mean the whole executive committee, and I'm a member of that too. So I will say, I think we definitely should consider that if we believe that if we see signs that there is going to be continuing progress on the nation builder demo testing, whatever we want to call it. I think the jury's still out on that. At least as a member of the jury, I'm not. I'm still on the fence. I have a related question though, and that is, when this idea was first presented to us by TJ, he set a time frame. He said he was going to offer us this setup for evaluation purposes at no cost through a particular time. And I think it was somehow August. I don't remember if it was beginning of August or no, but it was vaguely 2 months from now. And given that we really haven't had a chance to test anything yet, what is your understanding of the status of that timeline? Have you had a chance to talk to TJ at all about that? Would he, given that yeah, I think you're right. You probably understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question, because what he originally said is we had said we had until July to renew for the annual, which it turns out it's July 10th, but they need our answer if we're going to do monthly or annual by the end of this month, because I looked into that today. But you're correct. It was going to be at no charge for this testing period, which originally seemed like it was going to give us plenty
Right.
of time to do that. And now
Because
for
that was
it
back
June
last. That
9th.
was back
So that
last
gives
fall.
us, yeah, that was November. So that gives us, you know, essentially, 21 days until the end of this month to do the neon. And you're correct. I don't know that he's, you know, planning on giving it to us free any longer than that. And I will absolutely reach out to him about that, because that's a concern. If we're going to have to start paying for Nation Builder at the end of this month when we haven't even tested it, that's something that we need to seriously talk about.
So how long we want to keep paying for neon, or just give up on this depends on whether there's realistic. To me, it depends on whether there's a realistic chance to go follow through with the plan. And if either they are going to continue being extremely slow in working on it, or they're going to say we have to start paying in July for Nation Builder, either one of those things probably means it's impractical, and maybe we should just like punt. But if they are willing, I think whether he's willing to continue it for several more months, the free testing period for several more months, would definitely affect my view on whether we should keep working on it. Because it's going to take a lot of work for all of us to try to do all this testing, and it's not just testing. You have to go in and put stuff in order to. They don't even have a suitable data set loaded yet.
No, I just looked and it hasn't been loaded today. They talked about mapping, but it's still not loaded. I just looked.
Right.
So
that's definitely something you should find out.
Okay.
However, that takes us to next month before we'd have to, before we could do something else. So I don't know.
I'd like to move that we go to a month-to-month payment system.
All right, for neon.
Second.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion from Paul to turn our neon subscription to a month-to-month payment. That is seconded by Joe Dean. Is there any objection to that?
What's the rationale?
The rationale is that at some point, rather than just pay for neon all at once as an annual lump, and then potentially end up stopping using it in 6 months if we transfer everything over to Nation Builder, we go month to month. And then whenever we do finally do the Nation Builder cutover, we do that without losing money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. So that being so, is there any objection to that?
I'm sorry, they've been in the comments section. I'm a little nervous of losing data if we transfer over. And I don't understand, it sounds like Nation Builder isn't working. Why are we pursuing it then?
We're not, Pat. We're voting on changing over to a monthly payment plan.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
Right. So
why
we can take up the question of Nation
sorry.
Builder, but let's go ahead and dispose of this.
No, actually, Wesley is correct, and I'm sorry. I kind of am confused again. Not unusual for me.
That's all right. That's
So,
all right.
yeah, month to month, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So
the
is there
question
any...
after that, I have a question.
All right. So what I'm hearing is there is no objection to us kicking Neon over to a month-to-month payment.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that'll go.
I
with
have no objection. I seconded
tomorrow.
the motion. But
yes, you did.
If a month from now the Nation Builder thing is similarly stalled, I would be happy to entertain a motion in the other direction again to put it back to annual.
And Mr.
That's
Chairman, because this is a contract, does that not require a roll call vote?
That's a good question. All we're doing is renewing an existing expenditure. So we're not paying any more or less money. We're just spreading out the expenditure instead of taking on a new expenditure.
Lauren, I'm just paying attention to you. So
no, I appreciate that. I think the idea here is that no extra money is being spent here. We're just allotting it differently than we had originally intended to. So
it's actually less of a commitment.
Right. In fact, we're potentially saving ourselves money by doing it this way. So I think we're good.
I looked. That's why I looked in it today to make sure that we weren't paying more.
And just to be
money
clear, everybody knows what we just approved, right? Everybody understands where we're at. We're all on the same page with this. We're just going to pay Neon monthly instead of annually, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything else we need to talk about IT-wise, or can we move to membership and campaign outreach?
Actually, I do have a question, though, because what Joe brought up about Nation Builder, right now we've only had, I don't know when that free thing ends. I think I kind of remember it being August as well, which means that we have until next month to make an additional decision and for me to reach out to TJ. But if it's that we're supposed to do it somehow before we renew Neon, we might be on the hook for paying something for Nation Builder, which I do not want to do until we've had testing.
I think one of us has to talk to him about this very soon and have this all
Okay,
settled.
but we can't have, right. So if worse come to worse, we can do a special meeting to deal with that if we're going to have to pay for something more before that. Does that sound fair?
Why would we have to pay anything? I thought it was we had until August or something to sign up or not.
I don't recall. That's what I need to find out. I don't recall the exact date.
If it's actually August, then you're correct, Joe. If it actually is July, then we could potentially be up against some payment come our July meeting. So
before the July meeting, yeah.
Before the July meeting. So Mimi's going to check that out and let us know.
And if he's going to insist that we're supposed to pay starting July 1st, and we don't even have a sample data set loaded yet on June 9th, I think that tells us what we need to know.
That's I think we all know where you're going with that, Joe. Okay. So then
we can have a special meeting.
Is there anything else we need to do then with WebIT, or can we move forward then? Are we all good there with WebIT report? Okay. All right. I have 10 minutes here for membership and campaign outreach efforts and results. I think, Dave Schrader, we were going to you for that. Do you have something for us?
Actually, not much. No slides tonight. You get a reprieve. The agenda looked pretty long, so I thought I don't really need that much time.
You're a gentleman, Dave.
The meeting that we had at the membership group, Joe Dean made the good comment that, should the membership group be working on strategy, or ExecCom owns that? And I would agree. So I guess the question is, when is ExecCom going to start working on strategy? Do we need a subcommittee or something to work on that?
I think our committee structure is pretty inferior, and it totally needs to be redone. But membership is like really suffering.
There's more to strategy than membership. That's what's bothering me. We are doing everything ad hoc with no plan of what we're trying to accomplish on what kind of timeline. We need a strategic plan, and we need a plan to get the strategic plan.
We are reactive, not proactive.
Yes. What's getting done is what any one individual is willing to put some effort into. They are not coordinated with each other, and they're not necessarily the things that are going to give us the biggest bang for the effort of the people working on them. I'm on the board of Cal RCV. I've worked with them on their strategic plan, and I know how important it is to accomplish the goals of the organization. We need a strategic plan. What do we want to accomplish, and what kind of time frame, and what are the steps to get there? We don't have that. We need it. End of sermon.
Okay. Who wants to spearhead that?
All right, I'm going to open my big fat mouth and stick my foot in it. So
here it comes.
Let me put a note down, because I have been whining, W-I-N-E. So what was my goal? What's my chore? Strategic plan membership. Okay. I can write that down and read it tomorrow. I will come up with something really good.
Are you saying you're going to come up with a strategic plan, or saying you're going to somehow organize an effort to come up with a strategic plan?
In 2 weeks, I'll have it for you. Just kidding. I will have it. I'm really good at stuff. I wrote it down.
You basically said yes.
I will come up with something, yes. Because I think we're kind of suffering. I really hate our committee structure. So you complain, you got to solve the problem. That's how we used to do it.
Fair
You
enough.
cannot produce a strategic plan all on your own. It's got to be.
June, you have underestimated me.
No, you are not allowed to create a strategic plan all on your own.
I can start it.
Folks, yes. So even in 2 weeks, it sounds like, Pat, you're prepared to produce a document that is at least a draft strategic plan.
I will
to give us all something to consider going forward.
And I will bug the shit out of everybody, which I tend to do.
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to losing all this shit weight that I'm carrying around as you bug it out.
Lauren, I've left you alone.
Don't forget a PERT chart.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
Well,
said you
June
should be
asked for
doing this on
June
your
does,
own.
which is why she should be on this committee. All right, Mimi, you
Okay,
have
I
your
can
hand
bug
up. Go
her.
ahead. Mimi, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So all I was going to say is that I think that it should be the executive committee that works on that. So Pat, I think it's great that he's going to come up with a thing. I think that this is something that should be workshopped by the entire committee. I believe that this should be workshopped, no offense, Charles, in just the XCOM group, because this is strategic planning. So not, in other words, until we have a plan, we don't put it on the general out on the interwebs thing. We do it internally to come up with a strategic plan, and we work off of Pat's, and we all work together. And I think that we should do that via email, or
I share
some
with
other
Star
way
Child, but
with,
I never hear from him.
What do you mean,
and,
Pat?
but
All
again,
right.
I
I
share with
think
you
I think
everything.
we should all be
SF
working on
Dreamer
it. That's
dot
all I
Yeah,
whatever,
no,
think.
and I
All
never
right.
hear from you.
I agree with Mimi. I think that Pat has volunteered to jump in and
Okay.
produce a draft
Watch me
outline of a
roar.
strategic plan. We're going to let him run with this. I celebrate it. We're going to see where we're at in 2 weeks, and then we will talk about how to get to these places.
I'll have it
So thank you,
tomorrow.
Pat. Thank you, Pat, for being able to do that.
I
Dave, we're back to you.
Yeah, I just had one other item. Since Woodard dropped out and I have excess capacity to help people with campaigns, I'm volunteering the national group that I do. So this is not a California thing, but I wanted to bring it up because I think California can learn from people. So at the convention, I talked to Casey Whitener, who's running for U.S. Senate in South Carolina against Lindsey Graham. I talked to Thomas Lane from Iowa, who's running for a slot where the incumbent can't run again or step down. And then I talked to Jeff Walden from Arkansas, who's running against Tom Cotton. And all three of them are going to take advantage of the group to take a look at some of the insights that we got from donors, for example, to the Joe Jorgensen and Chase Oliver campaigns. I got Steve Dasbach's permission to give them data and help them with insights. So we're going to start having that. The exciting thing is 2 out of the 3 have campaign managers and are running pretty active campaigns. The other one doesn't have a campaign manager, but it was a corporate marketing person. And all of them want to try things like OTT and geofencing, things that we had wanted to do, but never ever did. And so the idea is that in return for the help from the group, we'll get some of their insights and data and help them analyze the data. So it could be a really good thing for California.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Yeah, I met that Lane guy at convention. He seemed pretty sharp.
Yeah, his campaign manager is very interesting. He's a high energy younger guy who said on our last call that he's a magician. And it's like, oh, you're going to materialize votes out of thin air? Great.
Great. All right. So, anything further in this committee report section? All right, we did that in 31 minutes and 39 seconds. That's pretty good. Okay. All right, let's move ahead into the next piece, which is here the Carl DeMaio Reform California Brandon Jackson conflict. So we had a little bit of a dust up over the last couple of days. Do people have questions? Are there questions or comments on this that we feel like need to get talked about in this meeting or this body today? For reference, I actually called Carl DeMaio on the phone and spoke to him and told him that the Libertarian Party of California has no official position on Reform California, because as far as I know, we don't. Likewise, I emailed Michael Schwartz from San Diego County Gun Owners and chatted with him back and forth just a little bit to reiterate that while we don't have an official position on San Diego County Gun Owners, obviously he spoke at our convention. We certainly agree on Second Amendment issues going forward. And then I had some text conversations with folks in SDCGO. So I feel like the situation has sort of dropped back to a status quo as far as we're concerned as an organization. Does that make sense to everybody?
Well, how about from their point of view? What is your impression of what they think of us
Well,
now?
I mean, they're politicians, so they're going to think what they're going to think, and they're going to tell you what they're going to tell you. But I think broadly, this is just an exercise in 80% ally coalitioning. Sooner or later, we're going to hit the 20% where we disagree, and we're going to brush up against each other a little bit, and that's okay. As long as everybody can still be professional about it, I think is where we're kind of at on that. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Well, it seems to me that the blow up came from the fact that a member of our executive committee spoke out of turn and claimed that the Libertarian Party of California had changed their attitude to these other organizations and said things, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, the LPC won't work with you anymore. We don't.
That's a fair
something
fair
along those
point.
lines.
That's a fair point.
He was not authorized. We never decided that, and he probably did it out of anger in the speech.
It bears saying we all need to be very careful about what we say
what
about
I'm saying is that
the
people
official position of the whatever.
We have to. Everybody on this committee has to be able to somehow, in their own minds, keep separate their personal opinions and the position of the organization.
Agreed.
And make clear when they speak to people outside which it is that they are representing. And in particular, nobody should be the specific rule is nobody should be saying the LPC has a position on any issue or with respect to any other organization or anything else if the executive committee or the convention or whatever hasn't in fact taken such a position. But it's more general than that. Everybody needs to be able to keep separate in their mind whose opinion they're talking about and be very clear when they state a position who they're attributing it to.
Agreed. Is there anything else we need to talk about this? Brandon, do you want to talk about this? This is your fault, Brandon.
I do really want to talk about it real quick. I'm going to be short and brief because I can't talk about everything, obviously, still. No. But all of this kind of started prior to the convention and then leading into the election season. I had a meeting with Carl DeMaio in January where we kind of talked about strategy a little bit, and I informed him, we're going to have some candidates running. Not all of them are going to be, viable, but we were eyeballing an assembly spot that had nobody running against the incumbent. And, this was going to be kind of like our spot. I was going to him, basically like, hey, we don't want competition or anything like that. Like this is what we're doing. Come to the convention and stuff, they all come over and, there's no formal agreement of allowing us to have an assembly seat or anything, but come to the signature collection, we got Antonio in the last minute in the March deadlines when it was like the second rollover time period. Carl himself fulfilled that spot in the assembly with a paper candidate of his. It's one of his assistants. They have no website. They have no banking info. There is nothing, no endorsements. It's literally a paper candidate. And he didn't just do it to us. He did it to another candidate that I was coalitioning with for Congress, Stan Kaplan, which was playing as a Trojan horse Democrat. Now, why did Carl do this? Strictly for money, in my opinion. He wants money from the elections and stuff, and he cut us off in doing so. And so we had no choice during Antonio's campaign to go against his candidate. He put himself in that position, and because of the paper candidate, the only person to target is Carl. Like it's, send money to Reform California, and that's it. So that's where this heat came from. And then Carl blocked me, didn't want anything to do with me, didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to communicate about anything. And then I filed a lawsuit on him for a 1983 lawsuit for a politician essentially blocking on their official social media page and stuff. There's already case law about it. And I did it just to say, hey, we need to talk, instead of him blocking and muting, and basically he knows what he did. I've been talking to other GOP members in San Diego because I'm working on both sides with them, even Richard Bailey's campaign. They all told me, yeah, Carl did that on purpose. He stabs everybody in the back. That's what he does. That's why there's a fight in San Diego.
What position does he hold right now, Brandon?
Assembly.
State Assemblyman.
And
in his county or in his district, which I am in his district, he's not very well liked in his district right now. So Um, I am handling it as well as I can. But he kind of brought it upon himself, like going against our campaigns and stuff, and like when you try to make a coalition, you make a coalition, you're trying to help each other, and the first thing he did was just stab us in the back right away, right off the bat. So it was like it was a timed thing. It was over time. It wasn't like it was a rushed. Oh my God, I gotta get him back. No, this was planning through March all the way until now. Campaigning. Um, and in the last little days, last month of the primary, it got heated. So this is kind of the end result. San Diego County gun owners hopped in because they are conjoined at the hip to Carl, and Carl's using them basically as a shield at this point. Um, and like I don't have really had beef with San Diego County gun owners. I was just sad that they didn't want to help Antonio or even side with any of us and kind of look at it. They didn't take us seriously. At the end of the day, Michael Schwartz lied to the board and said he had no idea we had candidates running or anything like that, which is a lie. Like he shook hands with our candidates. He came to and spoke at our convention like they knew. And so that's the main issue was the stab in the back. Like it's not I'm open for collaboration and working with people, but as soon as they come in and purposely stab us in the back, it's hard to act in good faith again and trust in them and be like, are you going to be there for me or you're not? Like as soon as we try something, are you just going to take us down? Our interest isn't with the Republican Party. I don't care about his stacking the GOP and stuff with his people. I don't care. Neither should we. That's kind of with our data showing is that we're losing people more than Republicans. And it's not the fact that we're doing worse than Republicans. It's that all of our people are going into these organizations like Reform California and San Diego County gun owners, and they're converting them into Republicans, and they're holding out. And that's where our membership's going. So I am trying to mend things with them. I want them to take us seriously and not just backstab us whenever and oh yeah, you'll support us, still whatever. It's no, you're gonna pay attention and work with us. But that's kind of the gist of it.
Well, being in San Diego, can I chime in?
Yeah.
There's an extreme fight in the San Diego Republican Party. On one side is Carl DeMaio, who is an extremely effective fundraiser, and he is a snake. You are correctly about that. Don't ever trust him. He's in it for himself. But we are the party of self-interest. So, and the other side is the Daryl Issa, the Brian Jones, the Joel Anderson. They're also snakes. So my advice is to stay away from all of them. They are totally dishonorable. And Carl DeMaio, having, seen him for the last 25 years, he's been chewed up because he came in as a young guy into politics. He did pension reform and all sorts of good stuff. And the Republican Party, people in the Republican Party chewed him up and spit him out. And so he's very bitter and he is a player. And he's in there for the power and he's been effective. I mean, he totally crushed Brian Jones with who's the woman who won the assembly seat or state senate seat. He was totally victorious against powerful establishment. So you have to give him some credit.
No, 100%, and that's the big thing, and why I went to him first was it's like I see everything, but he's still it's like it's about him, and it's like
yes,
I'm not trying to do damage to him. And I do have to work, unfortunately, both sides of the aisles because Richard Bailey, which we're helping in San Diego, is also getting funds from people, not necessarily Carl, from the other side. So it's like there's a middle of the aisle. And I understand I'm not, again, trying to aid Republicans here, but I'm looking for support. And there's
stay away. They are not trustworthy.
I think
neither side.
I think one of the great lessons here is that joining a coalition doesn't necessarily mean making ourselves subservient to other members of the coalition.
Not Republicans.
Like we can help in places where we feel like we can help. We can be allies where we feel like we can be allies. What we can't do is say, "Yeah, dude, we're totally into Reform California," because we're not. If we end up on the same side as Reform California on something, well, great. but we can't we can't court reform California as a thing.
They're
And I
not
think when we
libertarian at all.
right, right, and when we do that, we start to move away from our own principles and the place where we are.
Brandon, you
So
cannot trust Republicans.
right, and so I
I
think
know.
there's a lot of I think the great lesson here for me as an observer is distance. Right, it's like
Yes.
it's professional distance. What is it that we actually agree on? Let's talk about that, and not like go have a beer and hang out or whatever, because we're going to end up in some weird
But
place in a motel.
but Brandon, you
know,
can't speak for the whole Libertarian Party too, which
right,
you
and
did.
we all got to be very careful
I am
about
aware.
saying the
And
Libertarian Party feels X.
that was my mistake. It was also trying to get him to actually reach out and contact, because again, he completely blocked everything. Like, it wasn't like I was going unhinged before or anything. It was just, hey, why do you have paper candidates? Hey, and there was
Uh,
only one way to get his attention.
I hate to say it, but you are not important to him.
Well, I know.
Right.
Well, neither is the party. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's those are hard truths. All right, we have some hands up here. Starchild and then Mimi.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Brandon, maybe you didn't word it quite right, but I think, it sounds to me like your intentions were good, and in general, I think we should back you here from what it sounds like people are saying about DeMaio. Yeah, I question the value of trying to work with him. I would encourage you. It sounds like when you talk about both sides of the aisle, though, you're talking about two different factions of the Republicans, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking we really need not just San Diego, but statewide, nationwide, even worldwide, to be doing more to balance our messaging and reach out and appeal at least as much to the left as to the right, because we have an overall problem in this party with public perceptions. People already think that we're in bed with Republicans. They think we're conservatives. This is the majority public opinion. And that is extremely dangerous to us, because if people think that, it becomes like a ship taking on water. If we get people coming in from that side of the fence and they bring some baggage with them, and then that tilts the party even more in that direction, it becomes a self-reinforcing trend, like a ship taking on water on starboard till eventually it sinks. This happened in both Occupy and the Tea Party, that they were marginalized as left and right-wing groups respectively, and never took off with their real potential to have broad grassroots support. And this is why I think the Libertarian Party is the leading alternative party in this country, because we're able to appeal to both left and right. The other two major alternative parties, the Constitution and Greens, are far right and far left respectively, and so they don't have that same opportunity. And we would be really foolish, I think, to squander that. So I think it's really important that we try to reach out and appeal to people on the left, work with single issue groups on the left, build coalitions, et cetera. I just to encourage you, since it sounds like you're taking a really active stance in San Diego and trying to make a difference there in terms of these coalition efforts, and I applaud that. But please, think about doing more on the left and not just trying to work with the different factions of the Republicans.
I have been. I've been working
All right.
with them on the left. It's just during this last election, they had with the Peace and Freedom and Party of Socialism and Liberation and Greens, they were all really hung together. So it was really hard to kind of collaborate with them when they already had a
Yeah,
click together per se.
Yeah.
So
maybe
And
like
they're
non-party.
rolling like straight communists. Yeah.
Yeah, non-party groups. There might be more, inroads
trying.
there.
I got some of those in the works. I am.
All right. Okay. Mimi, you have your hand up.
I was just going to say, Carl DeMaio is a Republican. He was never going to support a Libertarian. It wasn't going to happen. I know that, there was thoughts that maybe he would do something differently. He wasn't going to. He's a Republican. Although I will say that we do agree with him on certain things, although he's taking credit for the Save Prop 13, and that's Carl, that's the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. But I think that just lesson learned, none of us should use our official CA.LP.org thing to reach out to people. And I think that lesson has been learned. I believe that Brandon's learned it. I believe that Lauren's mitigated it. And I think we're kind of done with it at this point. It's just, it is what it is. Things didn't work out the way that some people wanted it to, and we should be just done with it and be done with this agenda item.
Okay. Fair enough. Any further comment then? Dave, you have your finger up.
Yeah, is there any litigation pending either way? That was
I think
my
that's strictly Brandon as a personal suit.
I will give a vague thing because I can't go through everything. I currently have a 1983 First Amendment claim on him. He wants to file a defamation uh, claim on me or case on me, but in doing so, I'm just going to put an anti-slap motion on right away, which gets it dismissed. So it's like
And to be clear, Brandon, this is just you.
Just me. That's just me.
Not in your position as a coordinator, not in your party position.
He's tried to threaten to sue Antonio that was running. He tried to threaten to sue San Diego LP. At this point he's mad. He's mad that I beat him to the punch and that I kind of have him right now. And like I said, the goal's not to tear him down or anything. He's done a lot of good stuff. It's just to kind of straighten him out a little bit. Like,
So are you representing yourself, Brandon, or do you have pro bono help, or how are you managing?
At the moment, myself. I've filed quite a few motions, and I kind of know what I'm doing.
Right
I have
on.
some legal advice in the family, but I'm not looking to go to full. I'm looking to go to litigation. That's
or to you.
Just unblock me, dude. That's it, and it's like this. It's like, dude, you just have to unblock, and that's just to sit down and be like, I'm sorry. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
That's pushing back on that because politicians shouldn't be able to get away with that kind of thing.
Okay.
Fair
Orders of the day.
Okay. All right. We've hit the end of our time. We're at orders of the day. All right. So corollary to this, let's talk about communications hygiene. Some of you may have realized over the course of that big email kerfuffle that there were 5 or 6 people on there who got to watch us argue amongst ourselves and engage in something like a Three Stooges slap fight while we talked about Brandon Jackson and the whole situation. So so it is imperative, just as it is imperative on all of us to be very, very alert to not incidentally or accidentally portray ourselves as the voice of the Libertarian Party or try and profess some position of the Libertarian Party when we're not in a position to be the person who says that. It is incumbent on us to be careful about how we communicate with each other and watch that reply bar and the CC line and make sure that the people who are on that line are only the people that you want to talk to. This is also a great place to remind everybody that we have a bunch of email lists, and they exist for a reason. The recipients on those email lists are curated, and they're curated for a reason, so that we don't accidentally CC Carl DeMaio on our internal conversations. These things matter and they're important. So please be alert to that. To your credit, when that was brought when I called that out, Mimi called that out, and then I called it out a little more forcefully in the thread, and then everybody started to pay a lot more attention to who they were replying to. Good on y'all. But let's be very careful about sending emails to lots of individual people and instead just use the lists. That's what they're there for. Mimi, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I do. Just to add to this, we've had other incidences on this where there's been internal, discussions about things like, I don't know, governor candidates endorsing Republicans and things. And suddenly people start including a bunch of other people in the email that weren't there originally. And unless you're really paying attention, you don't realize that these people have been done. And there's been certain people have said, well, it's transparency. It is not okay to mislead people in who they're talking to. If you're going to add other people, be very clear. I'm adding this person or that person to this response.
Well, don't
so
just
that
reply
that
all
person,
before checking the list, Mimi. That's the
that too. And when you do reply all, don't add more people. Like that's the flip side of that too.
Is if you're going to add people, at least trigger the fact that you've done that, because
Well,
I think
what,
that's
what
very,
the CC
very.
field is for. You look at the CC
You
field.
know what? When you've got
I-
50 people on the thing, it's just not polite. I'm just
Right.
saying it's just not polite.
And
you
we've
don't
had more
have to
than
listen to me, Starchild, but it's just not polite.
there's been more than one instance where there's been some big thread going, and the CC bar has changed over the course of the conversation. People have added, people have dropped, and the conversation starts to get really weird. This is why we have email lists, and we need to use the email lists so
Yeah, we should have them-
that we know stuff's going where it's supposed to be going. The Joe has his hand up, and then Star Child.
So I agree with that as a general principle. I know a lot of people are very sloppy about looking at the CC list. However, I would point out that in this case, the added people, the main people that are of concern, were not added by any of us. We were replying to the original message came from an outsider who sent to all of us individually, which created a big long list
Right.
on the. But he's the one who put his his non-LP allies on the list. In particular,
Agreed.
this I don't know
Agreed.
Murphy or
Agreed.
whatever thing.
But
So
we got ourselves in a situation there where we started having a big conversation, and
right.
nobody checked that big line to realize,
Well,
oh,
you don't
wait.
know that nobody did. I mean, I didn't reply on behalf of the LPC. I've replied. I don't even remember what I said originally, but I knew that it was going to these other people. I was giving my reply to those people. You can't not reply. You can't not copy the person to whom you're replying if you're trying to reply to them. I think the broader. So in this particular case, it required a conscious choice of the people who wanted to join in the discussion of where to put it. And I think that leads into the question of where we should be having our internal discussions. And we've got now at least 3 different places where they can happen. They can happen on the xcom at ca.lp.org, which I thought we'd agreed we were not going to use as our primary thing. You only use it in exceptional cases. There is the LP California XCOM Discuss, which I thought we agreed was going to be our primary place. And so I think what somebody should have done, if somebody wanted to turn this into a discussion among us, was to put their comments to that list and leave off the outsiders. But then, as I brought up at the beginning of the meeting, there's a whole new thing here of this XCOM chat, which, like the xcom at ca.lp.org address, is, as far as I know, only goes to people who are on this committee, and therefore raises the same question of what's appropriate to do there versus other places. And it also raises another question, and that is, even if everybody agrees on the type of material that can go in multiple places, just the fact that you go to multiple places creates a whole additional level of complexity. If the same discussion is going on a Google group and in a Signal chat and in a Facebook group among an overlapping set of people, and you have to recognize that even if they're theoretically the same number of people, in actuality, some people are going to pay more attention to one forum than the other. It creates a disjointed conversation. Nobody knows what other people have already heard, and then we get to a meeting or whenever we have to actually resolve something, we got to go over everything again. So that's one of my concerns about the Signal group, is that it creates a disjointed discussion, and my other concern is that it seems to be not in the spirit of our earlier decision to have our actual discussion about party business be open by default. So I'm hoping we can get some agreement among the people here of how we use each of these things in a way that minimizes those problems.
Okay. All right. Star Child, you have your hand up, and then Mimi.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Joe just said. I think I would like to see us using email lists as the lowest common denominator to reach everyone, the most user empowering, rather than relying on outside independent platforms, whether it's a good one like Signal or a bad one like Facebook. But I think we also need to have a page on our website that lists all our email groups, for members at least, to be able to see who's in the groups and who the moderators are. So that way we really know when we send the emails to lists, okay, who is getting these emails, who's in the conversation, and for people to easily be able to subscribe or unsubscribe themselves to the different lists. That level of transparency and accessibility and having those in one place on the site, I think would help a lot in the conversations. Joe's mentioning the 2 different XCOM lists. I can't keep those straight. Even right now, I don't remember which ones they were or which is supposed to be used for what. There's also a county list. Then there's the California Libertarians list, which I don't think is actually a party list, but it's a long time, small L, at least libertarian list that a lot of people on the party are on, although it hasn't had much traffic, the last few years. But I'd like to see all these lists listed in one place and accessible, and people clearly be able to see who's on them, including if they're on them themselves. I don't even always know if I'm subscribed to a list, let alone other people, and to see who the moderators are, who has what power, and how moderation is handled.
Hello?
Sorry,
Mimi?
I was on mute.
You're
Mimi,
muted.
I was on mute. Mimi, go ahead.
Okay. All I was going to say is that as far as the signal group, I'm looking at it now. This is the signal group that Leslie started. I see no actual business being discussed on it for, I don't know, for a long time. I mean, there was some talk about, like, when counties and municipalities have elections. I don't know that that's actual business. I think that it really has turned into just a general discussion group. So I don't see that that's a problem. But, if other people think it is, they can leave that group. They don't have to be a part of it because it's strictly voluntary. The one single group we have, which I think is important, is the one that I set up for the LNC stuff. If you guys don't want that, that's fine too. It's just that that's an easier place to talk about what's going on the LNC. But that's the only official signal group we have. There's also a signal group chat for California that I set up like 2 years ago. There's a bunch of people on that. Anybody can be on that. I think it's really all about voluntary association. People can join whatever signal groups they want. They can leave whatever signal groups they don't want to be on. And I don't think that there's any official business happening. As far as the email list, I think it's really super simple. xcom@ca.lp.org is stuff that could be considered strategy or, things that could be considered executive session. And then there's the LP Discuss Google group. That's everything else. We don't use Signal, or we don't use Signal for that. We don't. So I'm really confused on what that is. And you're right, by the way, Starchild, there is another thing, which is LPC Discuss, which I started in 2017, which is not an official group at all. I'm the owner of it, and it's for anybody that wants to talk, and nobody does. So, there's that.
All right, Joe, you have your hand up. Joe, I think you're on mute.
Joe, you're muted.
The what exactly the signal group is, I think it's too early to say. It was only created like 2 weeks ago, if that much. I agree that most of what's been in there has not been what I would consider to be committee business. However, there were several posts, and one of the problems with these things is it's harder to go back and find things than it is with email. But I remember several topics that came up that I would have expected to be conducted as part of our email list. Not a lot, but enough that I got concerned and that it could lead to there being more. And I disagree completely with the idea of it's just a group, it's a voluntary association, anybody can do it. By that theory, this committee can do anything in secret as long as it's voluntary, as long as we agree to keep it secret. We have a role as a body, as a collective, where we have, I thought, agreed that we wanted to have a certain level of transparency by default. And if people start using a private channel of any form to discuss things that are not limited to those executive session type things, that could significantly degrade the principle of trying to be transparent. And I hate to invoke government. I'm not saying that we are a government or that we have to be bound by the rules of government, but I'm just doing this by analogy to explain the principle. if we were a government agency, this would clearly be in violation of the Brown Act to have such a signal chat. I believe, I'm not an expert on it, but I believe that has been interpreted to even say that the members of a public body can't like all attend the same dinner or something in a private place and talk about things because because they're supposed to be discussing their business in public. So I agree. I'm not arguing that that law applies to us, but the idea behind the law that if a body claims to be doing things openly and visible, but in fact is talking about the same topics among themselves in private, that makes the public discussion suspect. It makes it not real, because then what you get is people come to the public meeting, he see a decision, somebody makes a motion, and there's debate on the motion, and maybe that's happening in public, but actually everybody's already made up their mind earlier in the private discussion. Right? And some of the members maybe some of the members of the committee don't even realize that. So to tell people, oh, it's voluntary association, simple, you just drop out of the chat. Well, then how does somebody who drops out of the chat, what position does that leave him or her in? It means that everybody else is going to be making all the decisions, and they come to the meeting is going to have no idea why people are making the arguments they are. I think we've got to decide, are we serious about transparency or not? And if we are, even though we have the right to talk to anybody we want, I think if we are going to, as a body, want to maintain transparency, we have to voluntarily not talk about certain things in private. Voluntarily.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
I don't know if this was coming to any particular kind of motion, but I think it is reasonable for us to limit our business to email, like a business, and use any sort of chat as just incidental communication.
Okay, I have no.
That feels reasonable to me, and I'd like to believe that's what's been happening. But I think that your warning is well offered, Joe, and that is that we need to be very careful about what we say where and how we stay transparent, and that we're not making small cabal decisions in corners.
I believe that Wesley now is the only owner or moderator of this. Can he explain his view of this? As long as he's going to maintain it that way and like gently remind people if they go off into business or something, then I think we'll be fine. But if either he or any of the other sort of leaders of the discussion start going the other way, then I think it'd be a problem. So I think a lot of it has to do with our own attitudes.
I suspect I have been made a moderator on that XCOM signal chat.
Well, I will hope to see if the discussion does.
I'll confess, I think that I'm a moderator on that chat too.
If the so-called chat, drifts into discussion, I hope you will say something.
It'll be my prerogative as the chair to say, yeah. Hey, yo, take this to email. Sure, absolutely. Okay.
That's as long as everybody agrees with that, that's fine with me. I don't care how many cat pictures or whatever people post. Except
be careful, Joe. It might get crazy.
There is a practical problem that some people can't tolerate that large a volume of messages. And if there's 1,000 cat pictures and 10 business things, there's going to be some people who are just never going to see the business things because they don't want to see all the cat pictures.
That's a fair point.
So,
all right. Is there anything else that we need to bring up regarding this particular issue? All right. Let's go ahead and move ahead to committee appointments. Does anybody now? I put a note here in the agenda. I received a communication. I'm not sure exactly where it went, but I figured I would put it here just so it went to everybody. The JC has filled out its membership, so they've added Chris Edgar as a regular member, and then Linda Dorfmont and Barbara Engelhart as alternates to the JC. So there's that. I don't know if there are further committee appointments people want to make. Wes, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so tragedy has struck the Communications and Media Committee once again.
Oh, no.
We are down to only 5 actually operating, attending, working members. Finally had to remove Terry Young. She said, yeah, she's not coming back. And Avens O'Brien, I will never remove her from the Facebook page. She can always upload pictures forever she wants, but she is swamped with work. So that drops us down to 5 active members. two of which have not attended a meeting in many a months. One of them was Victor, the was current chair. On Sunday, the remaining members voted to replace Victor as the chair of the Communications and Media Committee. I am once again the chair of the Communications and Media Committee. I have reached out to Victor. He still wants to be on the committee. He is going through some shit. Actually, he's going into the doctors tomorrow. So, hearts and prayers for Victor to feel better. He's going to keep running the X campaign. There's something wrong with his throat. Not really a talky, be on camera situation right now, so he's not in a situation to run the committee, but is going to keep running the X account. So yeah, we're down to 5. The current operations manual says it's up to 9. I only have 7 slots on my Adobe profile, the team that I extend to everybody to make content with. So I would move that we amend our policy, our current operating procedures manual, to lower the number of people in the communications committee back from 9 back down to 7 like it used to be, and then have me start advertising for more members.
Okay. All right. So we got that
It's
motion.
in order, but it needs the higher threshold of votes to pass.
That makes sense. And does this require a vote, or can we do this with no objection?
I have a suggestion
Well,
for
it
that.
requires 10, but if you do it with no objections,
Then
that
we're
would
there.
make it be more than 10. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So hang on 1 second, starts out. We've got a motion here from Wes to amend the OPM to just drop this communications committee back to 7, which is what it was before we got this thing started. Seconded from Mimi. Before we go to a vote, Star Child, you had something you want to say about it?
Yeah, I would suggest, rather than affixing a particular number and then, we have to maybe in a couple months adjust it again, just say, can have any number up to 9 or something. Save ourselves some work and not box us in as far as exactly how many people have to be on these subcommittees.
I'd like to believe that up to whatever that number is intuitively understood. Some of them are going to be smaller just by nature. But maybe.
I think that 9 was far too many to begin with. I think that 7 is what we used to have, and 7 is appropriate. So I think that amending it to 7 is appropriate, and I don't think we should need to put it up to higher than that, because when you have really large committees on working committees like this, it gets really cumbersome and shit doesn't get done. You can always have volunteers that aren't committee members. So I think that this is an appropriate motion to make and to approve.
Yeah, with up to 9, it was hard on some months for us to make quorum to even have a meeting, just to get enough people there to be able to make decisions.
That's a fair point.
Okay, maybe the quorum could be set at a lower number.
I don't think we can redefine quorum.
Yeah, that's starting to get way out into some procedural weeds, and this looks like a much simpler solution for the moment. That being so, we've got a motion, we've got a second. Does everybody understand what we're doing here? We're just reducing the communications committee to 7 from 9. All right. Any objection to that?
I'll not object in the interests of time and everything. I'm not necessarily convinced, though.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that shift to the OPM. Rebecca, did you get it?
Yes, I got it.
Right on. Thank you very much. All right. So are there any actual committee appointments we want to try and take up during this segment of the agenda?
I had my hand up for that.
Oh, you did? Okay, go ahead, Mimi.
Yeah, it got lowered by somebody at some point, but I want to move because it's been confirmed in the chat that I was misremembering the convention committee. I would like to move to appoint Wesley Martin as the convention committee chair to then, populate the convention committee now that we have a contract.
Second.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to appoint Wes Martin as the convention committee chair. That's seconded by Paul. Is there any objection to that? All right, Wes, you're official. All right. So, any further committee appointments we want to take up here in this item? Star Child, is your hand still up, or are you?
Yes, it is. I actually had a request for the communications committee. I was going to ask if the committee could send the website information technology committee that I'm on a list of what social media accounts we have and who is authorized to post on them, and then
Ooh.
create a list of that on the website. Perhaps perhaps just viewable by members if we have the technology set up to distinguish members from the general public, which I think we should have. But if not, then just open to everybody, I think would be fine too, unless people have a huge problem with that. But I think having that information together in one place, again, would be helpful and help us keep track of our scope and where messaging is going out and accountability and being able to know who's putting what out on what platforms.
You know, I
Okay.
would like to touch on that subject real quick. That is a personal project of mine that has been brought to my attention by Sean Osborne in Los Angeles about going out and recouping some of the lost and mysterious, group pages, email addresses, and things that we have lost over the years. So yeah, Star Child, I am working on that. It is a rather deep rabbit hole that we and you can get together and talk about. But yeah, work is underway at
That
creating a all repository of everything on the internet that says Libertarian Party of California on it.
thanks.
I
And that reminds me one really quick thing, if I could.
I understand, but we're this is not especially germane to the idea of a committee appointment. We're getting into committee duties again. So by
Can
all
I have
means,
10
take that up in
seconds?
an email. Hold on a second. Joe's hand is up, and then Mimi, and then we'll come to Pat.
So mine
Thank
is
you.
not an appointment, but it's about appointments.
Okay.
There was some discussion in the context of the maintaining the website about whether the list of committee members were current, whether they had been reverted accidentally. I don't want to get into the details of that, but what I would ask is if all the relevant people who maintain such lists, the webmaster, um, Mimi, if she has to interface to the webmaster, and the secretary could all, between now and the next meeting, actually between now and before the, agenda for the next meeting, could check all those lists against each other, make sure they're all consistent, so that the rest of us, have a place we can look to see if there are vacancies, to see who's on the committees, and see if we want to take any action on any of these committees at the next meeting. So just as
We've
background for
actually
this.
been working on that
All right.
today.
Fair enough.
Okay, so if
It
you've
will
been
be
working on it
done.
today, perhaps we could even have it done
But
by
soon.
late this week, and then that'll give us plenty of time. I just want it to be in plenty of time for the next meeting, so we are all working off the same lists.
Fair enough. Mimi, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Pat for 10 seconds.
Okay, so mine is just membership committee. I thought I was somehow appointed to the membership committee a while ago. I don't think I was. Now there's an actual vacancy. I would like to nominate myself to be the final member of the membership committee because I'm working with the membership committee and actually providing them with the Zoom link for their meetings. So I'd like to be on it.
Okay. Mimi nominates herself for the membership committee. Wesley jumped in there with a
Wait,
second
I
on
want to
that.
say, Mimi was appointed in April. I found the minute.
Okay, because it was never. Okay,
I just actually
perfect.
updated
Never
it
mind.
today.
We are so efficient. Mimi
Okay.
was already appointed to that committee. We don't have to take it up here.
Thank
We're amazing tonight.
Excellent.
All right.
That's amazing.
All right,
Okay,
Pat, 10
never
seconds.
mind.
10 seconds. Okay, I see on the website the social media links for X and Facebook. But also, what happened to YouTube? Because there used to be Are You Smarter Than a Politician? There's also other social media, TikTok. I would hope that they would be included in the social media accounts.
I should think that that's stuff that Wes is chasing down. But do you have
Okay.
something specifically for committee appointments here?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was discussing what Wes and Starchild said.
Okay. All right.
I only had 10 seconds.
Well, and a fine job you did with them.
Thank
All
you.
right, Starchild, did you have something else? Your hand is
Oh,
up
no,
again.
I'm
Are we
sorry,
doing a committee
my-
appointment?
That was never mind.
Okay, fair enough. All right, moving along. All right, let's talk about the Central Area Coordinator position. This is a vacancy that needs filling. I actually got an email like right before this meeting, and then another one during the meeting from Susan Aquino. Some of you may know Susan out in Ventura County. Apparently, she is talking to. Where did I close my email? Oh, Lauren, why did you do that? Now I gotta find it again. She is talking to Kathleen O'Brien, who's a longtime elected libertarian for a long time and has just sort of stopped being an elected libertarian. So they're having a conversation
She's
about whether or
Kate,
not
not Kathleen.
Oh, sorry.
Kate.
Her email address comes in as Kathleen O'Brien, so I was just saying that.
But it's Kate.
It's Kate. Okay,
That's
Kate
fine.
O'Brien. So she's talking to Kate O'Brien. I don't know exactly where that interest is yet. I'll follow up with that between now and next
Kate is in
meeting.
Los Angeles. She's not in the central area.
Is she not in Ventura County?
No, she's Ventura. She's
Oh, is she?
Ventura
Yeah.
County.
Okay.
She was
And
elected as
Ventura
yeah, she was
County
elected in
as
Ventura County.
and Ventura County, as few of us know, is actually in the central area, which is perplexing to a lot of people. But that being the case, I'll follow up on that. I'll have more on that for next meeting, unless somebody else has a central area coordinator that they want to try and nominate right now.
Wasn't there somebody else who expressed interest?
Not that I readily recall. I'll dig back through my email, but
Nobody responded to her. She sent an email to on the forum on the website, and no one responded to her. So I thanked her for.
That was Kara about the at-large, or
yes,
the
at-large
I
alternate.
believe you're
Yes.
talking
Okay,
about.
my mistake then. But when someone volunteers, you don't want to ignore them.
Fair enough. All right, so I'm hearing nobody's got anybody to nominate for central area coordinator tonight. Okay. All right, well then let's talk about this at-large alternate position. I haven't gotten a chance to talk directly with Kara about it, but I know that Kara was interested. Do we want to?
Kara's
Is she
here.
still here? Is Kara still here?
I'm here.
Kara's still here. Hey, Kara, tell us about
I
your
made dinner
interest.
and I ate and cleaned up all while listening.
Well, this is actually a great point, Kara, because these meetings are like this. So, knowing that, are you still interested in being an at-large alternate for the Libertarian Party of California?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, tell us about yourself.
I'm currently the at-large. We don't have an alternate, just the regular at-large in San Diego. And I also help with like social media a bit down there. I don't know. I worked on the convention committee this year with Mimi, and I really enjoyed that. I think it would be nice to be a little bit more involved with the state level, and just it would kind of synergistically work with what I'm doing down in San Diego. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has questions. They can let me know.
All right, Mimi, you have your hand up.
I don't have a question. I would like to nominate Kara to be our at-large alternate, and I want to just speak to that very quickly. She was incredibly amazing and helpful on the convention committee. She went above and beyond. She got us good speakers. I think that she's got a lot of energy, and I would love to have her as, a member of this committee as an at-large alternate, which, whatever, but it would put her in with us to start doing some of the stuff that she does. And it's great to have people that want to do stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Showing up and sticking it out through the meeting speaks very highly of you, Kara. So we have a motion from Mimi to nominate Kara to this at-large alternate spot. Second from Brandon, it sounds like. So further discussion on this?
Were there any other volunteers?
Are there any other nominations?
Did anybody else? Did she respond to the email? Were there other
Yes.
emails?
Yes,
She did. She did respond to the email. I don't know of anybody else.
I heard of nobody else either.
Yeah,
I did not see any other responses to
I
the
don't know
email
that I
blast.
saw anybody else. Yeah, so yeah, not that, not that that's anything against Kara. It just means Kara's even more awesome because she actually emailed and then showed up. So that being so, is there any objection to appointing Kara Smith to the open at-large alternate position? All right, welcome aboard, Kara. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, and thank you,
I have a
Mimi, for the
question.
kind words.
Is
Well, you
there a
look great.
differentiate between a first and second alternate? Because I noticed that it says that like first alternate, second alternate. Like what is that all about?
It's who takes over if there's one spot that needs to be filled.
Right.
I
So does
believe
this
that
mean that
Nick
Star
was a,
Child automatically becomes the first alternate, and then Kara fills in behind him because Star Child has seniority?
That's a good question.
that's a good question.
I think that's the
I
way
think
we
that's the
generally
way
done
it
it.
should be.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably consult the bylaws and make sure. I don't know that we need to do that right this second, but that's definitely worth looking up just to be sure of going into next month and for a future process. Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly think if we were going to do it differently, we would have had to do it when I made that nomination. But we were filling the spot of a first alternate, but it was not made as that. So I think, and Richard Brown is still here, so he could maybe chime in, but I believe that would mean that Star Child would ascend to the first alternate and Kara would become the second alternate.
While that makes intuitive sense, it is not time critical for us to resolve that here, and we're already 2.5 hours in. So
well, I would put it differently. I think he already ascended to the Star Child ascended to the first alternate position by virtue of the fact that
Star Child ascendant.
It's not because of this motion. It's because the previous guy disappeared.
That makes sense too.
Right.
But we'll make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
And I think that's also consistent with the idea of how they're selected, right? This is like the first choice of the convention, the second, and we're only supposed to be we should only be putting people after who the convention.
All right, fair enough. Okay. I have a thing here for Neon Renewal Nation Builder implementation. I think we've already covered that pretty thoroughly.
Did that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more next month. All right. So the National Convention 2026 aftermath. I want to just take a second and thank the people who volunteered for vote teller action. Dave, you stood here. Hey, all right. Dave has this picture. Dave posted a picture. The vote telling was fun. It was our delegation was pretty thin. I think we topped out at 36 one day, which is pretty light. But the silver lining, it meant that I got to figure out how to do it with a much smaller than normal delegation. So that, I'll be totally selfish and say that that made it really easy on me. So, there it is. But National Convention, intriguing convention, kind of a cool venue. I don't know that I have anything particular else to say about that. I just wanted to be sure and thank the vote tellers for volunteering. Does anybody have anything they want to add about that convention?
I thought it was great. I was running around everywhere. It was fun.
Dave?
There weren't enough Robert Rules challenges.
There was a great moment. There was a great moment where people were very concerned about ukuleles on the floor. I mean, yeah, why not? Yeah.
And I didn't spend as much time at the mic as I did last convention, so that was fun. I got to sit with Alaska and Hawaii, strangely enough.
In fact, we were joined by
I had
Iowa.
a great time.
We were joined by the Iowa convention or the delegation because we had enough space in our block that the Iowa people came up and said, "Hey, we can't see you're here. Can we move up and sit with you guys?" And we said, "Sure." Right. So, all right. So we talked about LPACA Convention 2027 is next. Our state convention for 2027, the fixed menu pricing came through. I signed that contract. So our 2027 convention is scheduled for 6 to 8 August 2027. We already appointed Wes as the convention chair. Questions?
Well, yeah, I have one thing.
Okay, Wes?
I would love to go ahead and get started with booking and planning our in-person meeting. Probably just going to do it right at the DoubleTree and kind of sort of like in fashion that has been going on. Is there any objections to March? April? Like, what do you guys think?
Did the DoubleTree basically accept the offer?
The contract signed. The date is set.
Yep, the contract is signed. We're good.
He's asking about a different thing. He's
August
talking about
2027. That's for sure.
EC meeting.
Yes, that is what we're booked in at the DoubleTree for our state convention on the 6th of August and 7th and 8th, 2027.
August.
So put it on your calendar. Now's the time. We are way ahead this time, so everybody can get this on the calendar.
We just changed the schedule for that, right? Like change the times or the date when
Yes,
the.
we're doing ours in August because
Okay.
the 2028 national convention will be in February, and so of
That's
2028.
right. That's right.
So we had to move
I
this
was also
forward.
told that I would get the links for booking rooms in the next 2 days as soon as our credit card clears. And so then we can put that on the website and start figuring out what we want to do for selling early bird tickets and things like that. But people should plan for it because it'll be fun.
Yep. But so Wes, to your question specifically, you want to have an in-person meeting.
Yeah, when
Actually,
do you guys
we
think
have
we
to have
should
an
have it?
in-person.
Like
We have to have an
halfway
in-person meeting.
between now and next August is like around March. I would rather not do it in the middle of winter, so
Yeah.
Fair.
I would prefer March or April. you know?
Where?
This would be at the DoubleTree. So this would give us
Yeah, in Sacramento.
This is what we did last time. We all had our in-person meeting done at the Handlery so that we had all seen the hotel and we kind of knew where it was at. We knew how to get there. We're in a position to do the same thing this time. So I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with March.
I would
Do we-
prefer April, and I would prefer that we also try to schedule a fundraiser and or training and or both to go along with it.
Okay.
And that would give us more time to do that because we're already, I mean, we've got plenty of time, but that just gives us a bit more time. I don't know. I think April might be better. It's only a couple, 3 months or 4 months.
Does anybody
I
know
think
when
that'd be
Easter
better
is?
personally, but yeah. I'm sorry?
Easter is right at the end of March in 2027. It's March 28th.
So don't do it around Easter. Do it at the end of April.
We'll do it either before or after Easter, but I would suggest going to we can't make a decision now until we find out from them that they have the availability and what we would be doing. So maybe we can solidify it over the next month and come back to this next month at our meeting to actually.
But
so
this
that
is
we
an
can talk to the
opportunity to get
hotel.
input on dates that might be bad that we want to avoid and not accept from them. Like Easter was an example. It wouldn't matter that much to me, but I'm sure there are people to whom it would matter.
Well, this sounds like something worth taking up in an email so that everybody can
Okay,
really look at
that's
their
fine.
calendar.
There you go.
I mean,
And I'll stick it on the agenda for next month, and we'll talk
okay.
about.
I mean, I can see a particular
specific
weekend
calendar
in April that will not work for me. So,
Well, then
if you open it for email discussion, we can all give our things.
we can all do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might also want to check to see other bigger state parties like Texas may be holding their convention in a similar time frame, because people will be
That's true.
seeking the presidential and vice presidential nomination. They will
Oh, that's
probably
true.
Yeah,
want
this
to
isn't
attend.
for our convention. This is for an XCOM meeting, Mark.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the state party convention.
No, the convention
No.
we've already figured out that's the
Okay.
August dates that we just talked about.
Gotcha. Never mind.
Okay. All right. So, any further discussion then about the state convention right now and the DoubleTree and all that?
Are we going to do new offices at that convention too?
Yeah, we have to do it all. We're going to be doing new officers. That's chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary. I believe we do the coordinators as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to pick our national delegates for the 2028 convention. So we're kind of cramming in two things there. Yeah.
Fun.
But
we're not doing bylaws.
But there
That's
won't be a
right. No
bylaws
bylaws.
report. Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe.
That's good.
Okay.
There can be bylaws. It just can't be a bylaws committee.
Stop.
You think it's going to stop Aaron Starr?
There's already
you're right.
four
You can't-
proposals
Oh
in the
yeah,
works.
you can't outprocess
Oh, I'm
Aaron
gonna have
Starr. I'm sure
proposals
we're going to
too.
hear something about bylaws from somebody.
You're going
All
to hear
right.
some from me too.
Okay, well, but as we're moving into candidate endorsements, Star Child.
Convention, just for general people to be thinking about, but also I guess to the convention committee in terms of planning. Since we're in Sacramento, I would suggest that we set aside some time during that convention, during that weekend, for us to go en masse and spend some time lobbying at the Capitol and or doing a protest on the Capitol grounds or demonstration rally, something out in the public where we'll be seen by people.
It's an
Charlie,
interesting
we're gonna have
idea.
trouble just getting enough time to do everything that's on the agenda.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I suspect that might need to be extracurricular. But
Maybe
it's
we
it's
should
it's an
try to
interesting idea.
maybe we
I
should
could
try to
work
make
with you on that, Star
We could
Child.
probably do it for our
You wanna
in-person
brainstorm?
meeting.
maybe we should try to make it a little bit longer then, so we do have time to do that. I think at every convention we should really be trying to do some kind of public outreach component. One of the problems with having the conventions in these hotels is they make us almost invisible. You could be staying at the hotel and not even know that libertarians are having a convention there, let alone, other people on the outside seeing us. I think we are normally scattered in small numbers throughout large geographical areas, and we should take advantage of these times when we come together in mass to show our numbers in mass, whether it's trooping into the legislators' offices or being out on the Capitol grounds doing some kind of public event. I think that should be seen as an essential part of our conventions, especially when we're doing
Remember that our conventions happen on weekends.
right.
But it's an intriguing point, Star Child, for sure.
I do want to make one quick statement. We do get the same booking rate for 2 days before the convention and 2 days after the convention. So if you want to get a group of people to show up early, you can book at the exact same rate starting, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday in the middle of the week. And you can come a couple of days before everybody else generally shows up on Friday. So we already have it Friday through Sunday. So then you could probably book Wednesday and Thursday at the same rate and Sunday and Monday, or Monday and Tuesday, all the way up to, I think it's all the way up to Tuesday at the exact same rate. So if you want to come early and do something before the convention, rock and roll. You want to stay a couple of days after the convention and do something that following Monday, rock and roll.
Let's
and to be clear, that's sleeping rooms. You can book.
Yes, that's rooms. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Let's and presumably the contract will be set up in a way so that goes towards filling our room block. But,
yes, it does. It's already
I
written
think,
that way. Yes.
We should also, try to coordinate homestays or room stays for people that may have issues attending for financial reasons, and incorporate this as part of the convention that we're doing this lobbying beforehand or after the public event or whatever. Make that part of our messaging, like come to this. Don't just have it put on individuals to organize it, but make it part of the institutional program so that it is like seen as an official thing, and that way more people will do it.
Wesley, it sounds like you got a volunteer for a subcommittee.
Sounds like a volunteer.
Yeah, let me get the business planned out, and then we'll figure it out, Star Child. No problem.
Cool. That is the business.
Let's move ahead into candidate endorsements then. Do we have any candidates to endorse? I think we're in a period where there aren't any just yet. Okay. All right. So we have next endorsement of AB 1537. This is a motion put up by Star Child. This is legislation like Defend the Guard to limit California state government personnel collaborating with the feds. Has anybody got something? You want to? Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward. Do you want to take just a minute if you want to expand on that, Star Child? Literally just a minute.
I don't really even need to. I think that it's pretty straightforward. It seemed like a no-brainer for libertarians. Just one piece of. There's nothing special about this. There's probably other good bills out there that we should also get behind. In fact, I think somebody mentioned, I don't remember which one it was, but in the conversation about this, when I raised it, somebody mentioned another one that sounded also very good, maybe even better, that had to do with limiting state employees, I think, ability to, I don't remember now what that was. I'd have to go back and find it in my email, but
okay. Well, with this one,
anyway,
we're talking about specifically here, Star Child. This is Star Child's motion. I'm just going to treat this as a motion, I think, Star Child, if that's okay.
Sure.
So the motion then from Star Child is to is for the LPCA to officially endorse AB 1537 to limit California state government personnel collaborating with the feds. Do we have a second for that?
What does that mean? Limit them from collaborating with the feds. Can you just elaborate on? I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar with this, and I only got this agenda, shortly before the meeting. I don't have a chance to follow it. Can somebody
before we get into that,
Joe, into a paragraph rather than a half a sentence?
Before we get into that, Joe, June, did I hear you second this? Yes. Okay. So we have a second for this from June. All right. So let's talk about this for a second. I can just read a paragraph of this here.
Yeah. Can you pull up
this says, if I'm reading this correctly, this bill would, with some provisions, prohibit certain peace officers engaging in any form of secondary employment, including contract-based or as an individual contractor, that involves engaging in arresting, detaining, transporting, or deporting individuals pursuant to federal immigration laws. The bill would provide that failure to comply with this provision constitutes for certain purposes an act of dishonesty and is grounds for decertification as a peace officer. It would require certain peace officers to report their employing law enforcement agency any offer of secondary employment relating to immigration enforcement and their response to the offer.
Okay, well, that's a lot more
Well,
specific than
Lauren,
collaborating with. It's actually
Lauren,
working
Sure.
for.
Dave has his hand up. Dave.
yeah, in the agenda, it's flipped. So the one that you're reading, the pros and stuff underneath the endorsements, the numbers are wrong. 1537 that you just read has got the text down under 1627. So those
Oh,
two
do I have
need
the
to
links
be,
backwards? Okay, sorry.
yeah.
All right, let me open up this then. Let's open this link instead. So this is
No, the links match the.
Yeah, I just looked at 1537. The words guard is not in there at all.
I don't think it
oh,
is supposed to be the guard. I think that was Star Child's editorial comment. I don't think that's in.
oh, okay, yes, I see what's going on. Yeah, this is actually 1537. Yeah, so I don't know that this is super
So did you
like
just
defend the
read
guard.
15? What you just read was that
What
from
I
the?
just read was from 1537. I followed
Okay,
the
so
link.
that
The
has
link
to do with
says
that has to
Assembly
do
Bill
with
1537. Yes.
California state government people working for as employees of certain federal agencies.
Right, seeking secondary employment, and there are police officers who do that. I know that in a lot of municipalities, SWAT officers tend to be cross-deputized as U.S. Marshals, so they can do like fugitive removal and stuff like that. So it sounds like this is specifically trying to keep peace officers from also working for ICE in their off time or secondary thing or something.
Entirely limiting. It's only restricting the options of government employees, so I don't have any problem with it.
Can I raise
Brandon's got a
concern?
concern. Okay, Brandon, go ahead.
Well, not a concern, but some point of information, if you will. A lot of SWAT and police forces are deputized by federal agencies, including the Joint Terrorism Task Force and stuff, which targeted me. And in doing so, you're not allowed to sue these officers because they are now federalized. So they are shielded by federal um,
exemption, immunity.
Yes, and you cannot sue them, and they basically have shielded immunity. That you usually with a police officer you can sue them for if they do any unconstitutional violations, but under deputized federal, you cannot sue the local PD at that point because they federally deputized. So, just for you guys to know.
So are you in support of us backing this, Brandon?
I would at that point because that's how I got hung up on things. So,
okay. All right. Any further questions or commentary?
I still don't see anything in there on defend the guard.
That sounds like more of a Star Child editorial. Like
I think he was trying to make an analogy. It's not it's not actually about the National Guard.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
So is this looking to like criminalize the act of law enforcement people working for the federal agencies? I'm not sure what this act does. I know you just read a bunch of stuff that says guy who works for as a cop can't work for ICE.
I'll make a motion to postpone this so people can read it.
Okay.
The lateness of the hour.
Is this is certainly not time critical. It's not coming up on a ballot right immediately.
It's not a ballot thing. It's a legislation.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a second to postponing?
Second.
Second from Paul. Is there an objection to postponing so that we can read into this and dig into this?
Is it being voted on imminently or anything?
There was a motion to approve it, and so we're
okay.
I think his question is about what the legislature is doing. It's in committees now.
Right,
Go ahead,
but the motion to postpone is not a valid motion unless it's either a motion to postpone indefinitely, a motion to postpone for a time certain, a motion to postpone until our next meeting, or we could just not take this up and put it on the next agenda. Motion to postpone has to have like some kind of something
A
to
thing.
it where it's
Okay.
postponed.
Okay, next meeting along with the other stuff down there, I think.
While we're
Next year.
Fair enough.
while we're on the topic, can I add a SB 948 to also be put on there?
Well, we can do that just next agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, just the agenda link. I'll post the agenda link again out to the email so that you guys can get this stuff into the agenda doc, and we can be populating it for next month. So we have a motion and a second to postpone this specific question until next month. Am I understanding you correctly, Dave?
Actually, both of them.
Both of them. Okay. The AB 1537 and 1627, postpone these till next month so that we have time to read them. That also has a second. Francisco, do you have a comment on this postponement?
Yeah, just as far as postponing it, let's just keep in mind that these bills are time sensitive. I'm reading here the history of it, and it's in the Senate, so it already passed the Assembly, and right now it went to the Senate, so now it's up to the Senate to vote on this bill. And if they pass it, then goes to the governor's desk to get signed.
Okay. Other than
Okay.
feeling good, does their endorsement have any impact?
I don't know that
I
I have
mean-
an answer to that question. I think the answer is no, sadly, but that's
Only
where
if
we're
we
at.
make an advertising point of it. If we put out a press release and hype it up, we can make something of it. But if all we do is say we're endorsing it, no, it's not going to do anything.
Well, it sounds like this thing, as much as it might offend certain types of politicians, is popular among the Democrats in the legislature. If it's already passed one house, we're probably not going to make a difference.
That's true.
But there's always more bills. There's hundreds of bills that we could be doing this for.
Yep.
And we should.
So
we can also be putting stuff into the legislative portal, but that's a whole nother issue. Which we can talk about later. But I think right now we're at a vote, right?
The issue on the table right here is: shall we postpone the endorsement of these two things until next month? Is there an objection to us doing that? Okay. Okay. All right. So that being so, we'll go ahead and postpone those two things till next month. We'll take up the AB 1537 and 1627, in addition to whatever other things you guys want to put on there as we go forward. All right. So the next thing is statewide ballot proposition. This was June's thing. In June, you did want to postpone this to next month.
Summit, the SOS hasn't produced the summary yet.
Okay. All right. So then we have a couple of things here for new business. We have June asks, can the LP capitalize on Trump accounts? 5 minutes to introduce something for people to think about. What do you got, June? 5 minutes.
Obviously, we hate the idea of the government handing out $1,000 checks to make babies, and the worst insult is calling them Trump accounts. But there's one thing that's different about these accounts from any other ways that you could save money tax-free, and that's that non-parents and non-account holders can make contributions to them. Therefore, we might want to consider something like a scholarship program that makes donations to underprivileged kids in their accounts. So it's just something to think about, is that we could get publicity and goodwill by being people who help people collect the money to either go to college or start a business. Because once you get to the 18-year-old, they can pretty much do what they want with them. So just something to think about. The gold buried in all the stuff where the pony's hiding. So that was it. Just think about it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, the Trump account. This is strange things going on there.
It is sort of what I didn't really make explicit. It's sort of a potential backdoor to a replacement for Social Security, because these accounts could replace the function of Social Security for the account holders if they use them right.
Sure.
So that's tied into the whole idea of thinking about it.
Fair enough. All right, Star Child, you have your hand up. I'm sorry. I want to apologize. You dropped off the meeting, and I didn't realize you dropped off the meeting. I think while you were dropped off the meeting, we postponed consideration of those two endorsements so that people could read them. Were you here for that?
No, I wasn't. I was trying to get back into the meeting. Yeah,
Sorry about that. I didn't realize you had dropped, and then you tried to call me, but I have headphones on, and so I wasn't really paying attention to my phone. So I'm sorry if I cut you off.
You said
Uh,
two motions were voted to postpone?
these two motions that you put up here, AB 1537 and 1627,
Oh, the other good
there was
on.
general consensus here. People want to read them to have a full sense of what they're talking about before people leave.
Okay. I mean, these were already postponed for last month. From last month, it's probably not a big deal, but
Well, and that was
I really
brought up.
feel like
That was
no-brainer
brought
stuff
up
for
that
libertarians.
these seem to be popular in the legislature right now and are likely to pass. But there are things that we can certainly take up next month after people have had an opportunity to read the bills for sure. Okay, so then that brought us. We're down here to June, and then Francisco's resolution on New Hampshire. Is this something that's probably also worth postponing until next month so that we can all consider this a little bit? Are you okay
What
with
is
that,
the
Francisco?
what
Yeah,
is the resolution?
I think I'm fine with that. Yeah,
The
give
re,
people
the re,
time to read
the
up on
res
it.
the resolution here from Francisco, and it's on the agenda, and it was attached to the emails about the agenda. It's a resolution to support restoring the LP New Hampshire affiliate status. I don't know exactly. Now there are some ins and outs to that, and I'm sure we all have questions. And I think that's one of the big reasons that I wanted to make sure, like maybe we should postpone this, give everybody an opportunity to figure out exactly what this means before we bring this back to the agenda next month. Does that make sense to everybody?
I will object to consideration. I mean, for what you want, I don't want to give, I think we did the right thing, and I'd rather face the repercussions of whatever stuff is going to get stirred up than let New Hampshire back into this party.
I second that.
Well, fair enough.
The third, at least if you're talking about the group headed by Jeremy Kaufman, I think there will be a New Hampshire affiliate, and I'm all for that. I just
Talking
don't want.
about the group that was disaffiliated.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't want to postpone it. Maybe you want to take it up and vote it down.
Okay.
I mean, what I was going to try until you started talking about it was that I was going to object to consideration. And if that passes, that kills it. We don't waste any more time talking about it.
Well,
And
Francisco
if Richard's still around, he can back me up on that.
Okay.
Francisco, are you specifically trying to bring back the Kaufman group?
The what group?
The motion is in the agenda. You can read it there.
I
But
have
the
to
essence
find
is
the
that it would,
agenda.
it would. it
Okay,
would
hold on, June, hold on. Let Francisco put it up. Let's let Francisco speak to it. Francisco, why don't you take a
I'm
couple of
trying
minutes?
to object to consideration so that
Okay.
nobody speaks to it. I think I have precedence.
I appreciate that, June,
No.
but come
No.
on now.
It has to be. Wait, it has to be moved before you object to consideration. It's not been moved yet. So you've got to hold your horses.
Let's make sure of what let's make sure of what it is that Francisco is actually asking before we object. Knee-jerking about New Hampshire accomplishes nothing. So, Francisco, please take a couple of minutes and let us know what it is you're wanting us to look at here.
Yeah, so it's a resolution. Oregon just passed a similar resolution last night. This particular copy was based on the Horry County LP out there in
the what?
In southern.
Okay, I'm going to stop real quick. You have to make the motion before you can speak to it. No offense. But...
Okay, sorry. I actually wanted to make sure of what we were actually talking about before we even got to a motion. Okay,
yeah, but she's wanting to object to consideration. He's now talking about what he's talking. It has to be moved and seconded before we actually even get to those other things. So
all right, that's a fair
Richard
point.
Brown can probably,
Okay. All right. Well,
wrong,
in the interest of doing this smooth, slow as smooth, smooth as fast. So I'm seeing Francisco here. You're making a motion that we support this resolution on restoring LP New Hampshire's affiliate status. That is your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Does that motion have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a second from Mike Van Roy. Okay. Now, let's talk just a little bit about what this means. So, Francisco, go ahead.
Yeah, all it is just just restoring the affiliate because it opens up a can of worms. Like I raised the question about, then it could happen to our affiliate for stuff that previous committees have said or done. And I know Starchild, you asked if I'm trying to bring back specifically that affiliate.
We're
heading.
discussing and I'm objecting to consideration. I think I should have precedence at this point. Sorry,
Okay,
I'm
well,
not trying to shut you up. I'm just
no,
trying to. People are falling asleep. Look at the pictures. We need to get rid of this fast. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
well,
Get us out of here.
I feel like that is something that probably
I
interrupts if we're
second
just
the
objecting to
objection.
the whole thing. So we have a second from Wesley to object to taking this thing up. So then let's talk about objecting to taking this thing up. Does anybody want to speak to that?
Yeah, what is it?
So I
Is
just
that
want to make
debate? Is this debatable, by the way?
is this debatable?
No, I don't think so.
Objection to consideration is not debatable.
Okay, so we just got to do it. All right.
You
However,
know,
it's
I don't know what the vote needs to be, though. Does Richard know or anybody know? How many people have to support it?
Have to object to it.
Give me a second.
Well,
I will look. Richard, are you there? Because you might know without me. I think it's 2/3, but it might only be a majority, but it'll take me a second to find that out.
I apologize
Richard's
for
not there,
not
so
doing
Google
it thoroughly.
Google Gemini says 2/3. All right, so let's go ahead and go 2/3. And I
Okay,
suspect
that's
there's
what
going
I
to be
thought,
some
yeah.
disagreement here. So let's go ahead and roll call this. So we're going to go ahead and vote on this. A yes vote objects to consideration of the motion, which means the motion ends. A no vote allows the motion to continue to be heard. Does that make sense?
And
Wait, Laura,
and by
I've
the
got a
way, I just
question.
want to make this point. This is not in our special. This is not in the bylaws. So this is 2/3 of those present voting, not 2/3 of all committee members. Just that
Okay.
way.
Rebecca, what is your question?
Yeah, my question is Kara seated for this vote?
Are we missing enough people for Kara to be seated?
Oh, let me see.
No,
I know Richard Stafford's not here, but he might be the only one missing.
he's the only at-large missing. She is not seated.
Okay. All right,
It's
I will start
Charles
the
that's
vote
seated.
then.
Okay, so go ahead, Rebecca.
All right, Pat.
I object.
Okay,
Yes.
then
No, it's a
So,
yes
so
or no.
yes. Yeah.
Yes, sorry. It's hard to
Okay.
be first.
Hey,
used to it.
me, Rebecca, I will vote yes. Mike,
No.
Joe,
Yes.
Brandon,
I'm abstaining. I have no idea what's going on.
Francisco,
I agree to no.
Yeah, come back to me.
June,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Wesley,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
hey, Paul,
Yes.
Starchild.
Wait, a yes is
A
saying
yes,
to object to
a
consideration.
yes objects to taking the question up. You are
Okay.
supporting the objection.
Yeah, I will object. I put my reason in the chat. I
So
think,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, and Lauren, the
We're-
vote is 10 yes. Oh wait, 1 no, 1 abstain, and Francisco did not vote yet.
I think 10 is our threshold, right? That's
I
2/3.
believe Francisco
No, it's 2/3
passed.
present and voting. It's not a main motion. It's a procedural.
Oh, so this is
It's
far and away.
2/3,
with it.
so
Two-thirds.
it has.
It has to be 2/3 for yes of those present voting. I don't believe that Francisco voted yet.
Yeah, but if it's 10 to 1 to
Well,
a
he
couple,
still gets to
then-
choose
He
between
still has to
abstaining and
vote.
voting.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll
that's
vote.
true. That's true.
I'll
Okay,
vote
Francisco,
no.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'll vote
Francisco's
no.
voting no.
Votes
Okay.
no.
I will not vote.
Well, that's that then.
Okay.
And it is now 3 hours
You have
and
to say what the
4
vote is.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
Oh.
give us the final count.
Real quick, say it failed with a vote of whatever numbers, real quick, just because that's
And the vote is
rule.
10 yes, 2 no's, 1 abstain, and 1 not voting.
Okay, so then that objection carries, the motion ends, and that's that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our agenda.
I
you know
move
what
to
that
adjourn.
means. That means that Mimi moves to
I move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
I second.
I move.
Seconds from all over the place. Objection to adjourning. We're adjourned at 9:34. Thank you all for your attention and your endurance.
Well,
We'll
well
see
done,
you.
Mr. Chair. Well
Love you
done.
See
all.
you next month.
Sleep
And
well.
Thank
get
you.
out of here.
Night all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Aye.